Good day, everyone. How are we all keeping? Hope we're all well. I just move it up like that. Yeah, that's great. Um, Hope we're all well. I know we're a few minutes early. Now, there's 100 billion things. Sorry, answer tonight. Literally 100 billion things. Yeah, there's literally 100 billion things. See, that's the problem with not being live twice a week. At least you could break it up into two. When you're only live once a week, it's kind of a mess because you have so much to talk about. You have to pick and choose. Really, at this stage, what you have to say. Um, which I don't know. It might be a good thing, it might be a bad thing. I don't know. Less listening to me, I suppose. So that's, I suppose, a good way up under too. Um, let's see. T- 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 Sorry, I'm just doing things here. Right, hopefully everything's going fine on this live stream, Yuck. Because you never really know what YouTube notifications go out or not. Okay, sorry. Whenever you see the blue screen, I'm just looking to just make sure everything is fine. We probably should need to get started straight away. Am I charging that? I am. Yeah, okay. Our live, which is great. Good stuff. Um, yes. You give it a few minutes anyway. Oi. It's warm enough. Is that where the heater off it is? Not. Oi. Because it's just far too warm in this room. To be honest with you, I'd say the live stream could be fucked. To be the answer for some reason. I have my tea and I have to get my tea. Am I on live chat? I am. Good. I think it better off with the hat on. Either I have the heating off and everything. Because it's just too warm to with this top on. Good evening, Fiona. How are you keeping on this Wednesday evening? We have to use the usual thing, kind of wait around for a few minutes. Yeah, so there's a lot to talk about tonight. Well, a lot. We could be here for actually probably nearly 3 hours or so tonight. Are you? You're talking about the child that's. Well, there's two things happening at the moment. There's a child, I think, when it was Drogheda Dundalk. Yeah, there's a child. The girls think he's dead. We probably. I only heard briefly about it. We'll probably get into it later on. But there's another child in Northern Ireland or something that's dead too. It's terrible what's going on. we'll probably get into it later on, but hopefully they find the child. I don't know if the whole story, as I say. So I can look at it now. I just want to hear briefly because I'm only really back from work really at 5 o'clock. I heard about it on the bus radio when I was going on the bus this morning to work. But apart from that, I didn't really hear much more about it. Um, but I think as far as I heard, the girls think he's unfortunately passed away. Just look into that now on here. Yeah, there's a child that a young girl died in Tyrone. Yeah, it's in Drogheda. Yeah, so a missing 2-year-old boy. I have here from Radio Television Sharon. We'll probably go to that straight away. Maybe. Hello, Gordon. Good evening. I don't know. We look through it now in a second. I'm only looking through it myself now at the moment. He was reported missing in August. Yeah. They must have some. They haven't found the body or anything, but they must have some information that the child is is deceased. Because I don't think they would say such a thing if they didn't have something to back it up. Well, it's not looking good anyway. August. I don't know. Was it mid-August though? Because again, we're already in the mid-October. Especially a child of 6-year-old is not good when the child of 6-year-old goes missing. 8-year-old, sorry, beg my pardon. I don't know when in August, but it's a good while ago. Let me see. Pause that for a second. We have a look through, but it doesn't give us really any information why the girl take that. So yeah, this is from Radio Television, just actually a few minutes ago. Just literally a few seconds ago. Trotter the boy may have been killed over 2 years ago. But there's loads of questions, but it doesn't really give us much to go on. Because if it's only 2 years ago and he was reported missing in August, then something's wrong there. But they must have some evidence to suggest this. It was the 30th of August, I beg pardon. It was the 30th of August, the end of August. Not so, about 2 weeks ago, but still, for a boy at 8 years old, if he is missing, but hopefully this is not true. Hopefully the boy is just somewhere, and they just find him. But I don't know. Yeah, so they must have something because I don't think the girls will come out and say the tickie's dead over 2 years. I presume they would have to have something to back up this, or they have some kind of somebody that's seen something or something like that. But hopefully, this is wrong, and hopefully the child will be found safely. But I suppose we don't really know much at the moment about what's happening. I suppose what I'm trying to say is an active investigation, and the girls are probably not going to give away much. But hopefully this is wrong, and hopefully the boy will be found. So hopefully, please God, he will. Yeah, there's a child in there, but I think that was I don't know what's this. It could be a murder here, or the child could have went missing. But I highly doubt the child's gone missing if it was only I don't know. But it's terrible nonetheless. Now I suppose we get into it. But hopefully, we hopefully be. But it doesn't look good, unfortunately. That's the sad thing. So I put up a video a few minutes ago. Just this will be the first thing I talk about, I suppose. So there's a group established to look at Dublin city centre safety, etc., and how to improve the city centre in Dublin. And now this is very shocking. If you watch the video, I explained in more detail everything. But it's very shocking. Basically, the media at the moment are going out and putting out saying we should turn the GPO, the General Post Office, that was used in 1916 Rising, etc. We should turn that into social housing. So what that means basically is the work provision set straight away. That's really what they want. Obviously, they hate this country, the politicians, etc., the city councillors. The majority hate this country. And the same with these people that make these surveys. They're all high up civil servants that hate everything to do with this building. Irish sovereignty, etc. They hate Ireland. They hate everything about this country. So if they got the way, they would demolish it. I don't know if they're suggesting demolish it, but they're suggesting turning it into apartments. We look at News Talk here. Let's again News Talk. We want to we join the Commonwealth. We want to we join the British Army. The British Commonwealth. This is the crowd. They have some brass neck. They come out and say, what we should do. Because again, straight away they're just like, let's just demolish the GPO, turn it into social housing. Even though we do need social housing, etc., but we shouldn't be going and saying let's knock the GPO or let's turn it into social housing. A building that has such a historical significance to the history of the state, we're just going to turn it into social housing. We shouldn't do it because down the road, 5 minutes down the road, there's probably places boarded up that you could do up if you wanted to. But But on post, I misread this and I didn't communicate it in the video. I suppose that's the way to put it. But on post, it's moving their headquarters to the north wall. Key, which shouldn't happen anyway. It should be always a post office, the GPO. But what they suggest here is, where is it? I don't know if it's in this article. Am I blind or stupid? Yeah, here. So the suggestion here, and I don't know, this McDonald fellow, Frank McDonald, he must be some kind of I don't know what to make of him, but he doesn't like history anyway. He wants the wee white Irish history, etc., etc. He's more or less saying let's demolish the whole place. Anything to do with Irish sovereignty or the history of Ireland, we should just demolish it, send it back to the centuries. One thing we need to do is large vacant floors of buildings, bring them back into residential use. So basically, it's insane. And that he's proposing that there should be 300 or 400 apartments in the GPO. It's quite insane. Like this fellow has no conscience at all that this should be used. If it's not a post office, it should be turned into a monument to people who suffered and died for our freedom, etc., etc. And it is a small museum in the GPO. It should be expanded. If they are talking about doing something, there should be a museum. Because let's be fair, why should we use this as what the use is the direct provision center? Like let's just say it straight up. Like all these people to be going in, the people that are turned up out of the blue, and they'll be given this and that, and they'll be given a free house, and basically return it to a cesspool, the GPO. And we can't have that. Simple as that. It should be always the general post office or museum. We simply cannot allow them to do that, basically. And we shouldn't allow them. Simple as that. Because imagine saying this 50 years ago, just to say. Imagine saying this 50 years ago. Let's just turn it into social housing, the GPO. The most important building, I would argue, in the country. And nobody can argue with that. It is the most important building in the history of the Irish state. And the history of Ireland as a whole, too, because obviously that's where the people in 1916 went in and declared the Irish Republic. It's huge. It's invaluable, basically. There's no words that could be describe how valuable it is to Irish history, to Irish society, and it should be protected and shouldn't be turned into godforsaken apartments. And especially because I say down the road, there's probably 6 or 7 buildings there they could do up if they wanted to. That's. Hello, Shawnee. How are we doing? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They probably would if they got away with it. Hopefully, they won't get away with it. Like they're talking about social, but obviously they would know that. But people shouldn't. We shouldn't let it happen. Because we basically at that stage we might as well just demolish all the historical buildings. We might as well just go up and dig up graveyards, etc., etc. At that stage. But it's not like it's some kind of this is some NGO, Frank McDonald. Now, obviously, News Talk is having a fit. Like News Talk is loving this because that's rejoined the Commonwealth News Talk. So they hate everything to do with the country. So they hate the GPO. They hate Powick Peers. They hate James Connolly. They hate them. They wish they didn't exist. They wish they never fought for Irish sovereignty, etc., for Ireland to be self-governed. They wanted them to fight for the European Union, etc., etc. That's what they would tell you. That James Connolly and them fought for the European Union. They fought for Ursula von der Leyen, etc., etc. They were looking out for their interests. That's what they would say with a straight face. Like this NGO here, Frank McDonald, he probably should be brought into this is nearly I would nearly go as far as I know people say this is a far stretch, but I nearly go as far as saying this is treason. This is high treason suggesting this. And that's a far stretch of the imagination. But I do think if you said this 50 years ago, to be totally honest, I think people would have probably shot you. And and to be totally honest, I think that's what would have happened. Because you remember the 50th anniversary of the Easter Rise in the 1960s. Eamon de Valera was president, etc., during that point. And people that were fought in the 1916 Rising were still alive. Some of them were still alive. And to suggest that 50 years ago, let's turn this into apartments, or knock it down and let's turn it into apartments. It's extremely insulting to their memories, not only to the history of our country, but it's insulting to the people who sacrificed themselves and put themselves in harm's way to declare this republic. And this is what we think of them nowadays. Let's just turn into apartments. And obviously we need it, of course, but I don't think the wooden building out of any buildings. We've seen what happened to Boland's Mill in Dublin. They knocked a bit of that down. Like, they just don't care. They want to destroy Irish culture and history, and that's what it is. I explained more in the video, but as I say, we cannot let this happen, regardless of what it is. Even if people have to literally build a barricade around the GPO to stop them from doing it. Like, what I'm trying to say, people in Dublin should literally be uprisings in the street if this happens, to be totally honest. Because again, they will only do more, and they will do more damage to history. They will go into Newgrange if they got away with it and knock Newgrange down. They will do everything possible to destroy Irish history. But again, I need to suggest any because no right-minded person, Irish citizen, will come along and say, and I feel so passionate about this because we should feel so passionate about it. It's where our country was declared. It's where people fought and sacrificed themselves, and it's the foundation really of our state, and it's the foundation of our history. What happened in that building, and we owe it to them, the people who give it up, to even just having it there as a shrine to their memory. To keep that, still stands, and the Irish flag still stands above the GPO. But anyway, we'll see what happens. But I have to say, I feel very passionate about it, and everybody should. And I say this to even if you watch the video I put up earlier on, it's every citizen. It's not just the politicians, the political activists, the YouTubers, etc., etc. It's more than that. It's about every Irish citizen in the state. Do we value the people who fought for our country? Do we value it, or are we just going to let them destroy it? And that's the question we need to ask ourselves. Every Irish citizen, we need to ask that question of ourselves. Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Yeah, we're talking about the council. We'll get into the I suppose that too. There's something to do with Irish language at the top, but yeah, like that'd be like I don't know what you would say in American. With the Declaration of Independence, it wasn't. I can't think of the building. I've heard of it before, but where that was written up, the suggestion in America, let's turn this into a place for Mexicans to live in or something like that. Yeah, there's an election coming up, but I don't think it's not really to do with politicians. It's some godforsaken NGO that's not elected by you or me that it's over with, basically. It's not so much the politicians, I don't think in this case. It's some NGO that was appointed by the government to look over it. So, to be totally honest, I would go as far as saying it's treason, to be totally honest. That's what I would go as far as saying. Because I wouldn't dare suggest 50 years ago, you mean in the 1960s, anybody would have dared suggest, let's just knock the place down. Yeah, at the end of it, you're all right. It's politicians at the end of it. Because again, they only need to make one phone call off the water to stop it. The stop it being locked into at all. But what I'm trying to say, they should probably be more worried about people literally lying homeless on the streets than worrying about, they're hiding behind it. But to be totally honest, the NGOs nearly have more power than the politicians at this stage. There's some NGOs that just have extreme power in the state. They have more power than the Taoiseach. But anyway, speaking about the election, the Taoiseach, Simon Howarth, has come out and said, the election will be in due course. So pretty much, as you said there, it's literally imminent when you hear this. So they're going to pass whatever bills, the social welfare bill, etc., going through the houses, the Oireachtas at the moment, the phone on at the moment. So within the next week, we will know about it, basically. So it's pretty much imminent at this stage. Like, it's literally, it's within the next few weeks. But hopefully that doesn't come to fruition. But as I say, I'm going to be very annoying for them if they do go ahead and try and do that. Because I'm still being annoying over that the house in Ball's Bridge there. I'm still giving them a tough time, Dublin City Council, over it. The O'Reilly house in Ball's Bridge, when they went in and legally knocked it to developers, etc., to build apartments. I'm still giving them a tough time over that in the background. I'm still kicking up on hustle over it. Even though they wish me just shut up, because everybody else should shut up about it. But they want me to shut up about it, but they won't get it. What has happened here? What's happened with my computer? Yeah, sorry. Don't know what was that. We move on to the next. So there's 100 million things. See, the problem with me not live streaming twice a week is that there's more things to talk about on the day. So just want to briefly talk about this. Obviously, with an election coming up, so Griffin Media does great work, and Ben Skellin, of course. Now, this is to do with women, and obviously we need women and stuff like that in politics. Nobody can deny that. It's not back in the 1800s where women can't have a vote, can't have a say. They should. But at the end of the day, what I say about any candidate that's going for election, either be a woman or a man or somebody from Timbuktu, it's if the people of Ireland watch you. It's not that basically there's loads of grants for political parties to bring on ethnic minorities, people from Timbuktu, as I say, just turned up out of the boat, and women, etc., etc. But what I'm trying to say is it should be who the Irish public want. There shouldn't be grants trying to favour people to go into politics, etc., or into Dáil or the local authority, whatever it may be. And there shouldn't be such thing, to be told, in my opinion. If the Irish public want to vote a woman in or an ethnic minority in, it's up to the Irish public at the end of the day. There shouldn't be grants to support them because that's pretty much favouritism. To be told, that's favouritism, not giving everybody an even level. Say if I wanted to run now in the morning for Dáil, if I was or the local authority, I would have to get the money myself. There'd be no such thing as the government being like, "Here you go, here's €500,000. Be happy." No, there'd be no such thing as that. So why should only people? Because again, it's up to you to fundraise for the elections, etc. This is just kind of it's nepotism. It shouldn't happen because it's democracy. Everybody should be on an equal footing. Nobody should be above anybody else running for elections. And it's up to the Irish public at the end of the day. You can give them €500 million if you want to, but it's up to the Irish public at the end of the day to do the want them. To be in politics, etc., etc. But as I say, there's women like the woman behind me that are great benefits to society, etc., etc. But again, it's all, as I say, at the end, what democracy is about is up to what the public thinks. You can give them €30 billion every 10 minutes of the day, but it's still not going to change if people don't trust them or don't like them. As simple as that. But I don't think this should exist, to be totally honest. Giving grants, etc., etc. To be totally honest. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But as I say, if I wanted to go in the morning, there'd be no such thing as giving me grants, etc., etc. If that makes sense, like it should be fair because at the end of the day, it's up to the person to vote. It shouldn't be one person benefiting over the other. If that makes any sense, that's nepotism, really. That you're giving somebody an extra footing, than the only Joe. If that makes any sense, I'm sure people would agree. But at the end of the day, it's up to if you like the TV, etc., etc., or like the council. Giving them €500 billion is not going to help. And the same with giving political parties. We see them bending over backwards to get ethnic minorities, etc., into politics. Some of them have illegal immigrants that are not supposed to be in the state, but they're bringing them in anyway and letting them win in the election. But at the end of the day, it's up to the public. I don't mind electing. I would vote a woman. I know some people would be against. I've often heard with Sanna Mount people, like on Twitter, you've often seen it, that they hate her because she's a woman. Like I've seen that people literally crying about her being a woman, being a young woman, etc., in power. And I disagree because it should be the actions of the person, what they do to benefit the society, etc. What they do. It's not who they are, in my opinion. It's what they do. I've often literally seen hundreds of people give up at Sanna Mount just because she's a woman, emphasizing that she's a woman. And we're pretty much to say she shouldn't be allowed to speak and stuff like that, which is insane kind of stuff. Because she's entitled to speak, same as other women, they're entitled to speak. It's a free country, and it shouldn't be that way. And I think we'd be worse than Islam if we were like that. That women haven't got a say, etc., etc. Because everybody in democracy should have a say. It's not like is Iran, etc., etc. Women have to be silent and not heard, etc. That shouldn't be the case. It should never be the case in Ireland. That should be the way. We'll get the Santa Man, there's a lot to say about it today. No, right, okay, well. So, obviously, the biggest issue in the room at the moment is Sinn Féin. So, a former senator was signed over inappropriate text with a teenager. Like, this teenager was only 17, and this man, that I think he's 40 something, what's it, the senator? And then obviously we have the chair of the Public Accounts Committee. The name's escaping me now, but he's in a bit of trouble too. Whatever he has done, we don't know what he has done yet. And then obviously Sinn Féin's, we talked about it the other day about Sinn Féin's fellow up at the north, the press officer in Sinn Féin in Northern Ireland. He likes them young too, I suppose. Let's put it that way. But yeah, Sinn Féin's in a lot of hot water. Now I don't know what, and then obviously we talk about more later on, Bobby, in detail. But there's a woman that went on holidays last general election in Offaly, and she got top the poll there. She's left Sinn Féin, so basically two TDs have resigned from Sinn Féin in the last week. So it's a huge crisis for Sinn Féin, and not much loss, to be totally honest. But yeah, as I say, this senator, if he's doing this, there should be an investigation. He should probably go to prison for these inappropriate text messages and whatever. I don't know what the other fellow did, but whatever he did, if he done something like this, he should go to prison too. But I don't know. But as he said, Sinn Féin is the witch hunt in Sinn Féin, like it's a kangaroo court, basically in Sinn Féin, which I agree. Because again, if I was in Sinn Féin at the moment, because as somebody that was in Sinn Féin back in the day, you're not allowed to speak unless you're told. Basically, that's what I'm saying. You're told what to say and how to feel and etc. That's pretty much the same with any political party. You have to toe the line of the political party. That's why I never joined the political party, because you're told that there's loads of pressure put on you. There's loads of there's loads of pressure just to toe the line. You're not allowed to have an opinion that differs from the party lines. And Sinn Féin in theory is a kangaroo court. We see now the issue particularly of migration. Sinn Féin councillors and stuff like that, they're getting very upset that they can't speak out against it. And Sinn Féin shutting them down and telling them to shut up, etc., etc. It's the same with Fianna Fáil, same with Fine Gael. It's the same way in any political party. Whenever there's a political party, it wants to control the members, it wants to control the TDs. And that's unfortunately what's happening. That's unfortunately what's happening in the Western world, not just in Ireland, but across the Western world. They're trying to keep people in line. They're trying to keep people in line so they don't fall out of line. Which is why I never joined a political party, because I'm simply not going to sit down and shut up. Simple as that. That's why I left Sinn Féin, because I'm not just going. I technically was a member, but I wasn't that active, I suppose. Well, back when I was younger. But again, I think everybody was in Sinn Féin at one stage. I wouldn't have anything to do with them nowadays, just to say to people. I know people, they give you easy answers. Well, we build a million houses, we build this, we build that, we build the other. But at the end of the day, Sinn Féin is just not the party it used to be back in the day. They don't really care about Ireland. It's everybody else but Ireland, really, at this stage. In Sinn Féin, the majority of people. But again, the majority of people in Sinn Féin do care about Ireland. The only grassroots supporters. But a lot of them are being misled, etc., etc. And that's what's happening. Being brought down the garden path. That's what I take, in my opinion. I know people have different opinions, but a lot of people have left Sinn Féin. Take, for example, Aontú. Aontú was, particularly, and again for me too, was the abortion. When they wanted to bring in abortion into this country. A lot of people split and joined Aontú, etc., etc. Like Sinn Féin's supposed to be an Irish nationalist party. And I don't think if you're an Irish nationalist party, you should be saying we should have 24/7 abortions. And obviously Sinn Féin are hell bent on it. But that's what happened with Aontú, how Aontú was formed, because people who were in Sinn Féin didn't agree with that. The same as myself. Well, I was probably gone by that point before the abortion thing came up. But you get what I'm saying. But we don't know what happened with, I can't think of his name, but he's the chair of the Public Accounts Committee. I'm sure people know who I'm talking about. And then the other one that was signed, we don't know what happened with all. I presume she's just sick of it all. But yeah, Sinn Féin is pretty fucked. And not to mention, Sinn Féin's not doing that good at the moment either. Because a lot of people are not voting them in because of the migration issue. Because Sinn Féin has basically told the line of the government. They're basically saying anybody who objects to a direct provision sector in their area, etc., etc., is a far-right Nazi. And that's pretty much the same as Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. And that's really what's upsetting a lot of people. They've lost a lot of support because of it, particularly in rural areas, in very depublished areas like Clondalk and areas that don't have high wealth, etc., etc. So, people who live in poverty on social welfare, etc., etc. Young mothers, etc., etc. They lost a lot of support within the grassroots, basically. And that's all because they wouldn't take a stand on migration, pretty much. And along with other things, too. And especially this, too, would probably be the end of it. But again, I have no time for Sinn Féin. But I don't know who's worse, the Irish government, Fianna Fáil and Fianna Gael, Sinn Féin, to be told. But hopefully, again, the truth will come out what was happening in Sinn Féin. But in my experience, well, not my experience, but when I was there and stuff like that, it's all about control. And it's the same with any political party. It's about control. They want to be able to tell you what to think, how to think, and what to do. You're not allowed to say the same with any political party. If I want to go and join now, take for example, Fianna Fáil and Fianna Gael now in the morning, right? I'd be told what to take and how to take and what to say and how to say what, It's pretty much the same in every political party. The same with the Labour Party, same people for profit. It's pretty much the same. When you have people there's people in parties that are unelected, they're not like the TDs or councillors, etc. They're unaccountable. That are in, over different services of the political party, etc. They're unaccountable. They want to get as much power as possible. It's basically always power. It's always people trying to get power, being influence over you, etc. So that's really what it's all about. It's all kind of a game, really. Like, you won't know it unless you're in a political party. But that's why you often hold people leaving political parties. It's just, it's not so much zombies. It's just that they don't want you to speak up. They don't want you to have a voice. They want you just to toe the party's line, and that's pretty much it. They want you to be a zombie too, and I get what you're saying, but they want you to be a zombie. Just follow orders, money following orders, etc. But that's pretty much it. Not just in Sinn, I'm not just saying someone else Sinn Féin, but the majority of Irish political parties is pretty much the same. We've seen in Fianna Fáil recently, and last year, the two councillors in Galway, they were speaking out about the immigration issue in Galway, and Fianna Fáil basically ghosted them, basically. Basically, if you don't toe the party's line, they're going to push you to one side, basically. And that's what happened. So we don't know what exactly is happening in Sinn Féin, but we'll find out, I suppose. Now, what is this? So this is unconfirmed, if this would load. So this is unconfirmed. So this is a primary school book. Norma Foley does have a lot to answer for. We've seen recently, obviously, the interview that was done about the SPHE curriculum, etc., etc. Now, but this is for fifth class students, as I say, and it's all. And I hate to say it. I wish I didn't have to say it, and I wish this wasn't an issue. Obviously, people need to learn the basics in life, etc., etc. But at fifth class, like I learned about sex education, etc., etc. We learned a bit of it in sixth class, just before actually we left to go to secondary school, which I think is okay, but it wasn't too much. Basically, it wasn't like like it wasn't too graphic, basically. It wasn't graphic at all. It was just the basics. We didn't do worksheets or anything like that. It was just kind of a talk, about your reproductive organs, etc., etc. It wasn't too sexual or too explicit. But we didn't do such a thing like this. I know people probably say we have to, but in my opinion, I do think you should learn a bit in secondary school. When you get to secondary school, you should learn a bit more. In national school, and particularly when you get to sixth class, you should learn a bit. Not hopefully too much, but I do think this is a bit over the top. And it's nearly the level of paedophilia, to be totally honest, how it goes forward. But Norma Foley has a lot to answer for, particularly when we see this woke, what to basically woke, the woke ideology. But this is just one of many. But it shouldn't be a thing. And again, the fact that they're trying to, only for this parent and got this worksheet, for example, because the schools won't tell them. But it's all about it really is paedophilia, to be totally honest. That's really what it is. And it has to be said for what it is. But as I'm only saying about myself too, but this is allegedly, but it seems to be true, because it seems like the pages you would have when you were in national school. But when I first was taught about sex education, etc., so we were taught a bit in sixth class, but it wasn't too graphic. It wasn't like doing anything like this. And obviously they need to learn a bit in sixth class. I do think that's okay. nothing probably to compare to this. Now it seems to be a bit too much, to be totally honest, if you ask me. But obviously in secondary school you should learn the most. But nothing compared to what they want to teach people. That's my point. Especially we've seen with the SPHE curriculum, with the teachers speaking out, the SPHE teachers speaking out. It's all about just wokeness. Yes, it's infection of the mind, basically. Yeah, but she'd be kicked out. Like, as I said to you before, Norma Foley should never have been there in the first place. Yeah, I've seen about the QR scans, but I have probably make a video on that time. But I never was a fan. I never scanned a code in my life. As I said, when I was in Helsinki, there was one museum that had to go in to scan the thing. Like, it wasn't a QR code, but there was a thing at the bottom of the receipt, basically, to get into the museum, and I hated it. Like, you probably heard me in the video. I hated that. That's the one thing I hated. Because I hate scanning anything and stuff. I just rather pay the money, go in. There shouldn't be things scanning. For a museum, I wouldn't mind if it was going into the Parliament. I just basically walked into the Parliament. I had they had my name and stuff like that in the Parliament. Like, imagine you have to scan something. You don't have to scan anything going into the Finnish Parliament, but you have to scan something to go into a museum. Oh, but leap cards are fine. They're fine. It's just scanning stuff to go into places and do this and to find out more information. Like, the leap cards are different. I never had a leap card. I rather pay cash. I always pay cash when I'm on buses, etc., etc. But it's not like scan a QR code on your phone. I'm not into that shit. But we get to that. We get to it. So the council did vote. Cavan County Council voted on the occupied territories bill. Now I do think the government should introduce the bill, the occupied territory bill. As I said, what Israel's doing at the moment, it's the most heinous war crimes probably since the Second World War. I'm sure people have seen the video. I'm not going to show it because it's that graphic. And you probably shouldn't show it because it does affect, it stick with you. It's not something you can get rid of easily. Of people burning in their beds because of Israeli bombing, etc., etc. Like, it's the definition of evil. We should, as a country, and I suppose a neutral country too, we should be doing everything possible to try and get some kind of peace in the Middle East. But also at the same time, we should be making sure Israel suffers very much for their actions, by trade sanctions, whatever to annoy them and to upset them, the Israeli government, because we shouldn't be doing any business with Israel at the moment, to be totally honest. So I do encourage the Irish government to implement the Occupied Territories Bill. So I do agree with Cavan County Council on this, because it is war crimes, what's happening at the moment. And particularly Irish troops under threat at the moment because of Israel's hostilities. And not to mention just innocent people being burned alive, as I say. It's, it's insane. It's insane what I thought in the Second World War we left all this behind, but unfortunately, it still happens. But yeah, so I just wanted to briefly touch on that, just know you. Yeah, but it's I don't know how you would describe, but it's beyond evil. And planes are still coming over here. Take, for example, there's literally arms and bombs coming from the United States flying over Ireland to go to Israel. And the Irish government won't do anything about it. It's simple as that. Even though they shouldn't be flying it over a neutral country in only civilian aircrafts. But again, the people to blame there for this is the United States of America, because they're the people giving Israel the weapons and the bombs. Israel couldn't do this if the United States of America wasn't giving them bombs and grenades and ammunition. It's simple as that. It's Joe Biden that's to blame. That's the fellow needs to be blamed. Because if Joe Biden would just say no more guns, no more weapons, it would end within a week. Yeah, but it's a very complicated. It would be very complicated to get a peace, etc., etc. But we should try and get something. Yeah, the Geneva Convention. That's all. It's pretty much all just paper. And especially because the United States of America. This is the thing. The United States of America is backing Israel literally to the core, basically. And that's pretty much it. It's the United States of America. No other country in the world is backing Israel as much as the United States. And the United States will not allow anybody from Israel to be prosecuted for war crimes because they're vetoing it. And I wouldn't mind, but they're shouting a long time ago about Putin this, Putin that. And I'm not saying Putin has done his fair share of war crimes too, but double standards, really, in my opinion. But anyway, I suppose we're not talking about it at the moment. So good news here at the moment. So good news, there's a new local lick bus for Ballyjim stuff in that area, Cavan. So this is really, really good because for the first time, I think in the last 20 years, there's a dedicated bus for this area of Cavan and Mulla. So I'm probably going to get onto this bus someday, some weekend, just for a spin. We probably go to the Cavan Celtic Museum in Ballyjim stuff to have a look around. We'll probably go to Mulla to the St. Killian's community centre in Mulla to see the shrine, I suppose, that's dedicated to St. Killian. Because I've never seen it, so we will go someday. We will use this bus to go on it, to go and see it. Maybe not anytime soon, but we'll see it. Someday we'll go for a spin. Some weekend when I have time off, some time when I have free time, we'll go for a spin up to Ballyjim stuff and to Mulla. So that's what I say what I think of the bus. But all intentions, people are very happy with it. So it's good to see because it's about time. Yeah, like it's just evil. Like that's all I say. It's just evil. It's just terrible evil. Now, I meant to make a video, then I have to make a video now, but it's to do with the air pollution bill. So this is the bill that what the council. So basically, it gives the minister unlimited powers. The minister for environment. It gives them unlimited powers to do whatever he wants. So basically, what this was to do with stopping cows. The councils have the authority to stop cows if they take your distributing or bringing illegal coal, etc., so on your turf, etc., etc. Pretty much it says it here could be able to stop the vehicles and search them for and detain them under the proposal. And this is not the guards, just to say, this is council workers, people that work for the council. They could literally search your vehicle and detain you. Like, the only people that have the power to do that should have the power to do that is Garda Síochána O'Connor. But long story short, this is stupid because there's literally people going around with loads of drugs. And there's nothing done about them. But, people bringing coal, we're going to send the full force of the law after you. And not to mention, they could wage your house to make sure you're not born like non-smoky coal, etc., etc. So basically, this is pretty much at the rule. They hate Irish people, basically. And it's radical. Now, I don't know what the past is, because first of all, there's two issues with this. The Local Government Act of 2001, which limits the rights of the local authority, lest they change that. The local authority doesn't have much power as they used to have. It used to have huge powers years ago to do stuff. But the local authority doesn't have much power nowadays to do things like this. Like, first of all, we can't even force legal dumping laws and littering laws and dog shit laws. We can't even force them. Laws are literally failing. We can't even enforce them. So why in the name of God could we be able to enforce this? And second of all, there's not enough manpower in local authorities, etc., to do this, even if it was passed. But I don't want it to be passed anyway. So, that's to be totally honest. And nobody wants it to be passed. Because where they should be going, and this is the thing, where they should be going, these people that they want to employ, etc., to stop people's cows, etc., where they should be going is China, is India. They should be getting on a plane and going over there and stopping the Chinese Communist Party from burning turf. They're not burning turf, but, pumping smoke into the environment 24/7 with cheap plastic goods. Are they going to send them to China? That's what we need to ask. That's what we need to ask Eamon Wine here. Are they going to be sent to China to shout at the Chinese Communist Party? Because, I don't think it will end up well for them, if they shout at the Chinese Communist Party about it. But pretty much, we'll see what happens. But I probably have to make a video now. But it's insane. Because, again, you might think it's some God that Síochána O'Connor that would have the power. It won't be. It'd be only couch to people, civil servants. And as I said, there's two issues with that. As I said, with the Local Authority Act 2001, limits the rights of the authorities to have self-governance, basically. And then obviously the lack there'd be lack of literally manpower to do it. Because again, the basic laws in society, illegal dumping, littering, and dog shitting, basically, they can't be enforced. So how in the name of fuck can we enforce, that? Yeah, well, I can't say much about these things. Um, so unfortunate news about So Sad. So Sad is a voluntary group, basically. It doesn't. It gets funded from the HSE, but it doesn't. It relies on people to, voluntary donations, etc., etc. And they're really, really good. As I said, and I said this before, and I said that before to many councillors and TDs. Only for So Sad in Cavan, the suicide rate in this county would go up tenfold. And that's to be totally honest, because the other suicide pay their houses don't know what they're doing in Cavan. They're nowhere to be found. So Sad is doing all the work in Cavan. The voluntary group, they're doing more than CAMS, the state-run agency by the HSE. They're doing more than CAMS. And these are people giving up their time to help others, and I think it's very good. And again, I've went into So Sad before, and I'm not going to be ashamed. I know people probably say, some people be ashamed to say they were in with So Sad and stuff, because I was in a dark place at some stages of my life. And then thankfully they helped me out. And they got counseling, etc., for them. Didn't have to pay a penny to go in, but I did obviously give donations, etc. But they wouldn't ask for any money to go in to speak with them or anything like that. There was no anytime you wanted, there was appointments made. They could do one within a few hours if you wanted, if you rang on that day, etc. So very, very flexible and we're all just about looking after people, etc. And particularly, there was such a great use, as you know, and I talked about it many times before, the amount of young people that killed themselves over the last few years in our county. It's heartbreaking. So many young people killed themselves the last few months in this country, in this county, not even in the country, but this county has probably suffered the most in the whole country during COVID, etc., with suicide, because it was literally suicides. I could say there was 3 or 4 young people killing themselves a month in this county. And it's something that was shocking. But as I say, 2023, they've seen a 48% increase. And the people, and I put Mary Butler on blast here. Mary Butler is to blame for all this hassle. It's Mary Butler, as simple as that, the Minister for Mental Health. She should be ashamed of herself. She generally should be ashamed of herself. Because nothing has really changed in Cavan since all them suicides during COVID, etc. Nothing has changed. There's no, if children are looking for an appointment for CAMS, the state-run agency, not So Sad and Tom, but for CAMS, the state-run agency, they have to wait 6 months just to be seen, just to say, yeah, I put your name down to be seen. That's all. It's insane. And the person to blame is Mary Butler. They're not getting paid well. And obviously, it's a difficult services, listening to children come in and describing their upsets and worries, etc. It's not good for the person that's listening to that, obviously, too. But it's Mary Butler. Simple as that. It's Mary Butler. She should be ashamed of herself. Because that's the person to blame here. But I do say and this is the thing, imagine this, the state doesn't give them a huge amount of funding. They don't get huge funding from the state. They get a few bob from the state, but it's not that much. So basically what they rely on is only Joe's giving a few bob to them to keep them going. It's not the state. And I said this before, and I've said it before many, many times to councillors, that we should get rid of CAMS in Cavan. We should throw them out, get them out of the house. And we should get rid of them. I was in with CAMS. I know about them. I know about CAMS. I was in with them back when I was suffering a few years ago. And obviously they did their best. The people there were doing the best, but they were under extreme pressure. And, I understand that, but it's the issues at the top. It's the people at the top. It's the Mary Butler, the people over CAMS. They're the people to blame. Not so much the people on the ground. But we should get rid of CAMS and have So Sad as the state-run body in Cavan. And give them the funding that CAMS gets. Because CAMS systems and stuff seems to be working far better than the system that's there on CAMS at the moment. Because again, CAMS are not the best people either. CAMS are they left people on medication, young people on medication for far longer. Like, it's a whole long story. Hello, Yusuf. How's I? How you doing? But Camp's not the best people either. But yeah, a lot better place than it was back then. Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, interesting. Um, so there was a protest too in Cavan today outside the Cavan General Hospital. I'm out of breath because I'm speaking too much. Um, so obviously this is to do with pay and the number of staff, etc., etc. Uh, basically people are just sick. The nurses and doctors are sick and tired of this government. Uh, they're struggling to make ends meet, etc., etc. Like it's difficult. You might think being a healthcare worker you get loads of money, etc., etc. Like it's long hours, and because it's understaffed, etc., etc. You work longer hours. It's a sad state of affairs in a country that's supposed to be a first world country. Uh, and then obviously the majority of these people, unfortunately, the majority of these young nurses and young doctors, like take example, these young nurses and doctors, unfortunately, within the next year or two, they might not be here. They'll be gone to Australia, never to come back. And that's what's happening. I can't tell you the amount of nurses and doctors I have heard about in Cavan that started for a year, right? They were in Cavan General for a year. And after that year, they were gone. They never came back. They went off to Australia. And to be totally honest, I wouldn't blame them because they get treated like shit. They generally do. Uh, and then everybody from Timbuktu can come in. It's insane. Excuse me. So this is not surprising too. 4.7 million liters of raw sewage was pumped into a Cavan lake last year. Now this is straight. The pump failed for over a week. So I don't know how did anybody notice this that the pump failed for over a week. As you see, it caused some quite amount of pollution, and this lake I think is still polluted. Yeah, as I keep saying, it's simply not good enough. Yeah, like it's insane. Like this river and this lake in Cavan was literally just fucking brown because there was that much sewage in it. Like 4.7 million liters is a lot of water, and this lake was just brown. And I think a lot of fish died because of it too, because it was that polluted. So it's insane. And it happened for over a week. The pump failed for over a week. And I don't know, did anybody notice this? I don't think it was ever asked. I don't think any of the journalists ever asked. Did anybody notice this, or were they all asleep in Irish water? So I don't know. But long story short, this lake is still a bit polluted. I don't know this river. I keep saying lake. But this lake in Cavan is still polluted to a certain extent. Because again, this will take a long time for this amount of sewage to get gone, basically. 4.7 million is a lot of sewage. That's what's happening. Now, I just want to briefly touch. I don't have much information to this, but this was today, I think, or yesterday. So this was to do with a mental health incident. As far as I can gather, it's a mental health incident. Either that he was drunk. So either one of the two, I don't know. And to be told, it's kind of either one of the two. It's one of the two. But a guard was injured. He was stabbed. He was kind of stabbed. He wasn't fully. I don't know how we should describe, but he was injured. His minor injuries. But it was to do with a knife. The person apparently had a knife. So apparently he was having a mental breakdown, or either he was drunk. So whichever the thing, it doesn't give much information, but that's what I've been told. Again, not confirmed. But he was detained under the Mental Health Act, so presumably he was just kind of out of it. So I don't have much information if people are that. So I don't know much what's happening, but hopefully the guard's okay, because again, it was a knife involved. We know that, but we'll see. Yeah, like it's a lot. 4.5 wouldn't mind just a small amount. It's a lot of sewage. So I don't know what happened. I'll keep you updated if you hear anything about it. But I presume it was on the mental health. He was mentally unstable. So this is too. Just when I'm briefly here. This is to do with defibrillators. So this was talking about Cavan County Council. The meeting of Cavan County Council was just Monday. they talked about defibrillators. And I just kind of want to say just my piece on it. I always say my pieces on these things when they're brought up in the media, etc., etc. There should be one of these in every community set. There is a majority in Cavan do have them, but it's the sad fact of reality about the equipment. And this is the thing the council didn't bring up, and I just want to critique a bit what they said in the meeting on Monday, that it wasn't brought up about them being stolen and damaged. Like, it's all well and good putting nice new defibrillators on walls, etc., etc., and some of them get stolen and destroyed. Like, it's insane what happens. So, long story short, unless we bring forward legislation to stop defibrillators, etc., being destroyed, being taken, then it's pointless putting them up around the county because they're just getting damaged. Like, only 2 weeks ago, there were Clonus there in County Monaghan, outside the library. It was stolen, and it's gone missing. It's gone. There's nowhere to be found. And that's a lot of money down the drain, too. It's insane. So I want to briefly touch about what was brought up, Brendan Smith brought up in the Dáil. So, and I want to just briefly talk about mine. So, in when you're in national school in Ireland, I think it's when you're in 5th or 6th class, you get free dentist appointment to go into the dentist. Now, I had this when I was in 5th and 6th class. I had to go in to get it. I got a filling done in my teeth when I was in national school. And obviously didn't have to pay for it or anything that. It was free dental care for 5th and 6th class during that point. But there was no issue when, basically what I'm trying to emphasize here, there was no issue when I was going in there when I was younger. There was no issue. It was no, straight away you got it. Everyone in the class got it straight away. So I don't know how it's an issue now. That's what I'm trying to say. So there's a shortage of personnel, but I don't get it, to be honest. But it should be cleared up. It doesn't take rocket science to clear it up. But I presume it's just bureaucracy, to be honest, that's holding it up. Because there is a lot of, like, you notice around Cavan, if anybody's ever around Cavan, there's a lot of dentists. And I know this is to do with the HSE. The HSE has their own dentists too, contracted, etc., etc. But what they should do is kind of get some of the private dentists to clear some of the delays. That's really what they should. I know people say we shouldn't be giving private entities money, but the clear, because the delays in Cavan are extraordinary. Like there's a child that was waiting. He was supposed to go in 5th class. Now he's doing the leaving cert, and he's finally been called in to get it. So basically, he went from 6th class to the leaving cert. So basically, that's nearly 5 years, 6 years. That's how bad it is. Just to emphasize, that's how bad it is. So I don't know how we went from that point to the here, but we're here now. No, but this person, like, he was on the list, like, basically there's a waiting list, and he was still there on it, because he didn't get it. Because again, you're entitled to get it, the thing. At least you have to pay for it. Over here, we had to pay. We're paying a huge amount in tax, and it's going down the drain. Now, just give me a second. I'm going to have a bit of a breather for a sec, because I'm literally talking non-stop. There's a few more things to bring up. There was other things I meant to bring up too, but I can't remember what it was. See, what was I meant to bring up? There was other stuff. Fuck's sake, I can't remember. I must be generally losing it. Yeah, it's mindless thing. But that's what I'm saying. So it's pointless. The TDs, no, the council, sorry. They don't seem to get it. There's no point putting up defibrillators around the place if they're going to be destroyed. Because that's what's happening, unfortunately. The defibrillators that are out there are being destroyed. Now, there's other things I meant to talk about. Sorry, give me a second, because it's that long since we're live. You have to bear with me, I suppose, for tonight. Um, don't know. Just check and see what that was. Um, now, I should write these things down. See, it's that much. See, when you used to be live twice a week, you could remember a bit and get things sorted a bit better. Um, now, I presume everybody's seen the video that I put up yesterday. There's still a poster up around this area from the European elections, just to say. Like, it's literally in a public place, and, people, it's still there. It's quite insane to think about. Um, what the fuck? If I had a brain, I'd be dangerous. Yeah, like that post is still up. Just you know, I've left it there. Like we have the authority to take it down to the council. Well, we have the authority to take down posters, etc., etc. Especially because it's literally 4 months out of date. Uh, but I've just kind of left it there to see what people, anybody notice or talk about it. That's pretty much the reason why. Uh, and it's 4 months ago, just to say. Bum 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 bum. What was to do? Yeah, I was speaking about Irish earlier on. That was last month, wasn't it? Give me a second, because there was something Aaron only said earlier on. I should have probably talked about it at the time, because see, when I don't talk about it at the time, I forget exactly what it was. See, I should start writing things down. It'd be a lot easier to write things down than go by list, by list, by list. But no, unfortunately, I had to do it the hard way. Fucking ads. Pitu. Yeah, give me a moment, sorry. You can chat among yourselves for a few minutes. Well, in the name of God and others holy. If I had a head, I'd be dangerous. Where in the good God above? I'll probably find it later on. I bought some new books. That's good. On the sheet. Every time I say, yeah, it's definitely not 100%. It's not. I know some people probably think it's something different. I know people probably wouldn't be paying attention to. Speaking of books and stuff, like we have more to talk about books later on, but I'll just briefly talk about it here. Not about books yet. Just when I'm here, just when I thought about it, because there's a lot of things. So I agree that hospitality is basically thrown under the bus, and you're probably wondering why. It's the same what they did. Well, not so much in what they did in Finland. In Finland, they're just out to just destroy everything. Um, so basically, basically what they pay in tax to the government has been increased, and the minimum wage and sick pay has gone up. Excuse me. So basically, businesses have to pay more in tax and for minimum wage and sick pay. So this is holding a lot of small businesses, not so much the big businesses, but small business like a small cafe. It's holding them a lot. So a lot of cafes and pubs, and this is what's making a lot of pubs close. It's the fat, uh, and I haven't decreased it. So basically, the government are making huge bucks on it, and basically businesses are closed because of this. Um, So a lot of businesses will not be surviving the winter, unfortunately here. So it'll be pretty much the same as the True Finns, but the True Finns even done worse worse again. At least there's some government grads in this country. Over in Finland, there's none. They just fucked everybody over. Um, you know. Now let me find that thing about Irish. A good thing, like, Irish, Irish. Ai, fitto, Sandro. Oh yeah, I'm just stupid. I wouldn't mind as soon as I went looking for the founder. So they're going to do. So it was just speaking about Irish. You were talking earlier on about the Irish language, Aaron only. So the councillors in Cavan County Council. So they're going to be talking in English and Irish. So they're going to talk in Irish and English, basically. So they're going to talk in English first and then Irish. So basically, they're going to speak twice, basically. And it's the same with Celts too, in terms of communicating and stuff like that. The what people, not so much me, not people walking on the roads, etc., etc., but in the Celts offices to each other, etc., etc. Now, obviously, it'd be quite difficult for me because I can speak some Irish, not too much Irish, and obviously, I would love to learn Irish, but I'm fucking stupid. The rest of them are not dyslexic, etc., etc. They all have, they're all what they got. None of them. I'm probably the only one with special needs around the cat. So I suppose it's good in a way that the folks to do that. Just when you were talking about languages earlier on. Can I speak for you now? No, I wish I could. I'd love to if I could. See, when I was in national school, when I was in junior reference, I didn't have a choice. My teachers give up on me. She just gave up on me. The rest of them could learn simple Irish, count the numbers. Like my teachers gave up, said he was hopeless. That's pretty much what she said to my mother. He's hopeless. And then after that, the school applied for me to get a exception from the Department of Education, not to learn Irish, because it was that thick, and that's pretty much what the teacher said. That he was hopeless, because the rest of them could learn some Irish, basic Irish. I was just hopeless. It's quite hard when you have dyslexia and stuff like that. It's difficult. It's not easy. It's not easy to learn, like to write in English and to talk in English. It's difficult. It is difficult. Like I've tried. Believe me, I've tried, but it's pointless. It was, being dyslexic and stuff. It's hard to write. Like you see often in my community posts and titles of videos, etc., etc. Like it's dreadful. Some by spelling stuff like that. So there's not much up me. Say speaking Irish when I can't barely speak and write in English. I probably should go down and get a drink now in a second. See, the drink got me tea. Like we have more to talk about. Just to say. Give me a moment. I'm just looking for the other thing. Yeah, see, if my teacher in national school at that time when I was in junior reference and stuff would have maybe tried a bit harder, and pushed it a bit further, I probably could have learned a good bit of Irish if I was young, But nowadays, as one person said to me, unless you were younger, picked up some of it, uh, there's not much hope of you picking it up now, and that's probably why I'm saying it. Now, I just want to talk about this. So this was going to be today. Give me a moment. So this is going back to the Israelis. We should have probably talked about it instead of talking about it now. But this is to do with the ditch, and obviously the Irish government have admitted to there's been flights of weapons of war going through Irish sovereign territory to Israel. So they're carrying fighter jet parts from the United States for repair, as you can see here. So it's basically going over Cavan too. You can see Cavan here at the border. So it's basically going over Cavan. So it shouldn't be allowed at all to go through Irish territory. Shouldn't be allowed at all to possess weapons of war. Shouldn't be allowed. And it's not. And you're supposed to have a special exception to go through Ireland with weapons of war, other weapons from other countries. At most, if they wanted to bring these weapons, they should be going above Ireland through Scotland, etc., etc. But long story short, we have no means to stop them from doing it. That's pretty much because we can argue till the cows come home with the Israeli government, but they're not going to listen. The only way to do it is show of force, and we have no fighter jets at all to stop them bringing it across. At least if we had fighter jets, we could scramble them and make them leave our territory. With fighter jets, with missiles, etc., etc. Escort them out of our territory. But we can't do it because we have literally no fighters. So it's quite insane. But long story short, these airlines shouldn't be banned. They should be banned or heavily fined into the millions for doing this. Like there. But there was flights there was one Israeli flight, because this is not the first one. There was one that literally went across this way, across here for some reason. Apparently was going to Norway. So apparently it went across like Isle of Man over England, because England allowed the Israeli government to do whatever they want. But particularly because they were NATO, etc., the United States would tell them to do whatever. But as a sovereign and neutral country, you shouldn't be allowing it. Like you see them going over a bit of England, they're going over a bit of Romania. Like the UK government has no issue with them; they could do it as much as they want. But we have Irish people should have an issue with it. Yeah. But we shouldn't be allowing it, obviously. Like no country should be. Like the United States military shouldn't be in Shannon. I agree with that statement. Give me a moment. Yeah, like they're literally the weapons. Like I said, there's a fighter jet, bits of fighter jet, etc. So going back to Israel, they're going to be used to bomb innocent children. Just to say, I hate to laugh, but that's literally what we're allowing to happen. Because if we didn't allow it to go over our territory, they might not, it might not be used to bomb children. That's all I'm saying. No, the plane is going to Israel, going back to Israel. Like the plane I was saying about the where to Norway, so it was going from the United States, and Norway must be giving the Israeli government weapons or something, and they flew over the island of Man to go to Norway, and then they probably went back to Israel. Like that flight's going across Ireland, England, back over to Israel. That's where that plane's going. This one today. Also, apparently, just because there's a lot of hush over this. Uh, um, I don't know. I won't say anything. But probably best to say nothing. Um, Now, there's a lot of stuff to say about the next few topics, of course. Um, so I need to get a glass of water or something or a drink. Is that okay with everybody? For a few minutes. So I'll be gone for literally 2 minutes because the next few things is going to be long. I'm going to lose the breath. Uh, just when I'm here, actually, just to be actually the last thing I meant to mention at the moment. I suppose I should have brought this up in the first thing. Sorry, I didn't bring it up. I wouldn't mind, but I did remember it and all that, and I have been thinking about it. Just give me a moment. I think it's still happening now. Yeah, we see. Hopefully, there's some good. But with that bus going on the road, it's good news. Yeah, well, I wouldn't mind him ever done. You know yourself. The last time an Austrian was jumping around, I wouldn't listen to an Austrian. Also the Shannon there. He's talking about the criminal. Like this is supposed to be the hate speech, but just to shut her up for a second. Um, uh, So this to do with the hate. The hate speech bill has been dropped, but there is another kind of like now the hate offences. So this would be there was two parts of the hate speech bill, I suppose. The incitement to violence or hatred offences bill. So the other bit was the incitement, like the hate speech bill, like, to do with speech. This is to do with violence, etc. Hate violence, the hate crimes. So this is going through the Shannon at the moment, so there's debates, etc., etc. So nobody's of any doubt that this will pass. But the one thing that's interesting well, not interest, but fearful, I suppose you would say, is that a death of fire, it doesn't say that a man and woman. It says about that you can identify as whatever you want, basically. So basically, if I identify as an elephant, pretty much, and you discriminate against me because I'm an elephant, then we're going to lock you up for 5 years. Uh, there's no such thing as just man and woman. There's everything else but man and woman. So that's the other thing that's going to be very interesting to see how that's going to be enforced. But basically, look, I don't mind some of it if you prosecute against some people uh, because of the religious beliefs or whatever. But it doesn't work both sides. If somebody's hateful against an Irish person, we've seen it recently with the former Trump advisor, there's no such thing as prosecuting him for hate speech and threatening violence against the state. We've seen nothing about that. There's no word about prosecuting him. Or take, for example, people coming over here and discriminating against Ireland and its history. The Irish government will be up for it. Let's put it that way. Like these people themselves, not this woman particularly, but the TDs and senators themselves nearly be up for hate speech because every day of the week they hate this country. So that wouldn't work. But long story short, it doesn't work both sides. It only works for the other side. But incitement to hatred 2.0. No, but what I'm trying to say is the definition too of the bill is any gender, anybody. There's no such thing as man and woman. If you I could identify as an elephant. Um, and if you discriminate against me because I'm an elephant, I can go to an God kind of hate crime. You know, because basically the sky's endless. Basically, that's pretty much what the bill basically says. Not maybe in that tone, because again, I'm Irish, but if you were somebody else, you could, could go off in that. But that's what I'm saying. Like that's what really says in the bill too. Uh, which I don't know. Again, this is the thing, but we don't know. But that's what I gather by looking at this. And Tracy and Matley too has talked about it. That it seems to be that. That it does seem to be it. And not to mention, well, I don't mind so much the incitement bit. If you're saying we should attack a group of people or target a group of people because of their race or their skin, I don't mind that. That's obviously you shouldn't do that. Obviously, or inciting violence together, you shouldn't do that. I don't have any issue with that bit. But it's the fact that that bit of the issue, I have an issue with that bit of like there's only man and woman. Like it is only true. It's such a hate speech thing to say. But just even saying that too, you could be locked up because of that. I wouldn't listen to an Austrian. Yeah, that's hate crime there. But you get what I'm saying. There's a quote I was particularly looking at. There was somebody quoting him on Twitter, and the last time an Austrian was saying about Russia, it didn't go well. Um, um, something like I wouldn't mind. Like he's obviously delusional, like that fellow, because like his own country is not in NATO. Like he's more worried about Ireland being in NATO, but he's literally his own country is not in NATO. Maybe he should cry about his own country not being in NATO instead of worrying about Ireland and this country and that country. And you think he'd be off on the front lines, but he's nowhere to be found. Well, is that okay? I'll be 2 minutes away. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. There might be amendments to the speech, but I don't know. But at least the hate speech bill, like prosecuting hate speech, like I suppose in terms of the incitement to violence, what's going through the Shan at the moment. Some of it's fake. I will admit that some of it's fake. It'll be adapted in many different ways. But unfortunately, as I say to people, it's pointless. It's going to be voted through. There's nothing that can be done about it. To be done, the hate speech bill was more controversial, etc., etc. But I don't see any Fianna Fáil, Sinn Féin, and the Labour Party going to fall forward. So it is what it is, really, at the end of the day. But anyway, 2 minutes, everyone. Good evening. He's everywhere. What was something else I was supposed to discuss? Give me a moment, sorry. Just when we're talking about the general election and stuff, I just thought about something. So give me 2 seconds, everyone's on. So just give me a moment. I'm trying to find this thing. So this is to do with the general election that's coming up. Now, I don't. I know people have asked me who am I going to vote for. At least this time, I'm going to be here in the state. I'm not going to be gone. I don't really know. I have some candidates of mine. I've heard some people that's going for it. To be totally honest, I don't know yet. I'm going to wait to near hand when people come around campus and etc. etc. Make up my mind then. But at the moment in time, obviously, there's a few people. There's a good few people, but you get what I'm saying. Oh, I'm looking up the complete wrong thing. My mistake. Sorry. I'm dumb and stupid. The other unfortunate thing is that YouTube is really hates me. Not people on YouTube, but YouTube itself. It's fucking pissing. Going to be great weather tomorrow. Where in the name of Christ? It's pissing. Like, yeah, I don't know if you hear it behind me, but it's literally pissing. It's pissing cats and dogs. I wouldn't mind, but I didn't look. If I didn't look for these things, I would fucking find it straight away. Oi, man, Hendo tree a cahill quick. I try and find it. Hendo tree a cahill quick. Shock the knock these. Oi, man, this. Bing, 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 bing. Oh, here. Yeah. Very good. We won't find until you be vote. Say within the next few months. But thankfully, I'd be fucking here for once. Literally, when the general election, European election, fucking the one time in the history of my life, in the last 20 years of my life, 21 years, the one time I left the state, it was the night of the election, the night before the election. You couldn't make it up. But anyway, people probably know this Fallon Mal. He has a YouTube channel. He's from Cavan. He's from Kingscote, up that part of Cavan. Yeah, from Kingscote. He's running for the Irish Freedom Party in Cavan Monaghan. Just to let people know in Cavan. Now there is some what they call the Nationalist Alliance. They're one of the candidates too. So my biggest concern, I suppose, in Cavan and I suppose in Monaghan too, that's going to split the vote because there's an independent Lester Godley. He went for the last. He done very very well in the last election. He's an independent. And then obviously Fallon Mal too, and then you have there's another Mark Manoli or something like that. And it's going to split the vote. So you have three nationalist candidates in one area. So I don't know if that's going to split the vote. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I don't know yet. I'm undecided who to vote for specifically. Like who to give number one. But we see when the time comes, I suppose. Like I'm thinking about a Cotsney. I'm thinking about a Cotsney. So I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. But just to let people know. How many presidents? What do you mean? Oh, in Ireland's history. You mean that could be determined in many ways. In history, don't know. There hasn't been that many presidents. Ireland's only been an independent country since 1937. Douglas Hyde had Sean T. O'Kelly. What do you call those other? There was ones in Irish. Talton must have been 9. I think 9 presidents. Yeah, Michael D. Higgins is the 9th president, isn't he? Yeah, it's not that many because you can stay for the president. Remember, presidential elections in Ireland are every 7 years, so it's not like every 4 years. Yeah, the 9th president of Ireland. It's every 7 years for the Irish presidency. So Michael Higgins been there for 14 years as president, the current president of Ireland. So it's a long time. It's a lot more than the president of the United States. It's every 7 years, like a long time. I don't think we'll go for the presidency because you need to have. It's different with the United States presidency. It's extremely different because you need to get in the United States. If you get nominated or you go yourself, you can become president. But you need to get the support of 20 senators and TDs for the presidency, and also you need the recommendation of 3 county councils. So Cavan County Council, all the county councils, local authorities. So it's done. And then obviously you need to have the money. You need to have loads of money to run for the Irish presidency. So basically, you need a lot. It's quite a difference. You just don't turn up and put your name down. It's a lot of work to get onto the ballot. And then get in. Yeah, I don't know, but my point is this tree going. and that could split the vote three ways. That's what I'm saying. Like, it'd be better if one candidate got in than having three and the votes all split up every way. You know, if that makes any sense. That's my biggest concern. Um, if that makes sense, you get what I'm saying, because it's better to have one candidate and all them votes going to one candidate and having three split up between the three of them. That's what I would say. But again, I suppose it's not up to me. But I'm just saying because it's better to get one in than none in. Yeah, that's just my biggest. I just wanted to bring that up there when I was here. But again, I'm sure they will get just that my taking, I suppose, and a lot of probably people's taking, because a few people have said it to me that and a few people like I will say a few people had come and asked me about it, not to run, but just to make sure I wasn't running. you know, um, I had somebody ask me. I'm not going to say from which party, but I had somebody ask me. They probably did ask just to make sure I wasn't one too, so I wouldn't be an issue. But there was one person that came and asked me to make sure that I wasn't going, and obviously I say it 100 times. I have no intention of running for the general election, whatever, but the local county election in this area. In the next election, I will put that out there, but not the general election. So just to let people know, just to let the candidates know that I'm not putting myself forward or anything like that. So they have no worry about that. So uh, yeah, she's the one that made the comments about a certain group of people owning the American economy. I think I can't say what she uttered, but you probably heard. But I cannot utter the comment that she said. But I'll be back. I know about it. We'll be here for a while, and there's quite a lot to say. What the fuck? Breaking news. Also, apparently, I've seen this earlier on. Oh, she's different now. I just presume that's who you're talking about. See, it's hard to remember every councillor. There's something like 2,000 councillors or 1,000 councillors. How can you remember? It's insane to remember. It's hard to remember myself, let alone remember them. Get this thing out of my way. Can you please move? Thank you. No, I don't care, Irish. No. Uh, please, feck off. Excuse me. I would like to see the article. Thank you. So this is to do with the recycling boxes, etc., etc. So the director, the person over this scheme, this yoke, was paid 400,000 euro. This is great. Directors get paid huge salary. Like, I don't know what he's getting paid for. He shouldn't be making this. Maybe 100,000. That's being generous. But yeah, the companies were put 6.5 million loss, and we're just going to pay them 400,000 euro. It makes sense, but again, when the government's funding it, who cares? Everything's having a fit. Now, just give me a moment, however. Um, Um, yeah. So just talk about this. So quite a shocking thing. And now in Sweden and stuff, um, it's usual thing. But so basically, a young what they call it, hockey player, ex hockey player. So this fella here was shot and killed in his apartment just outside Helsinki. Now I don't know why. I don't know what was I don't know why he was shot and killed, but obviously this has sent a lot of riffers through Finnish society, especially because he's quite a well known person as you see him here, um, with Sanna Marin. So yeah, so it's quite a lot of shock on Finland because again, especially because he was very high up, and he was very well got in Finland, etc. etc. So and obviously Sanna's very upset about literally her friend being shot and killed. Um, Especially only at 29, too, just a bit older than me. Uh, with his whole life ahead of him, just shot dead at 1 o'clock in the day. It's quite a shocking thing because especially as the media in Finland have said, it's not uncommon in Sweden, for people to be shot in the middle of the day because people have been blown up and shot 24/7. But in Finland, it's very shocking when something like this happens. Um, but who knows what caused it? Um, so, uh, so who knows? But that's really all I say about it at the moment. There's more I have to talk about Sana, but we get to it in a second. Um, um, so because especially because it's shocking because there's not that many murders in Finland. It's only like 100 or so murders a year in Finland, which sounds a lot, but it's not that many compared to this country. People being fucking killed every 10 seconds in this country. Like you turn on the news every day of the week, this person been murdered, that person been shot. It's insane the amount of murders in this bloody country. Um, Give me a moment. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's very shocking. The whole media is talking about it in Finland, etc. So because it's very shocking. Um, you know, Especially because again he's very well known. An ex-hockey player, and obviously friends with the former prime minister, etc. etc. And quite high up. And knew the president, etc. etc. So very well politically connected, etc. etc. For somebody just to come in and shoot him and be gone, like literally they don't know who done it. They just turned up, shot him, and left. You know, and that's just the thing. So they don't really know. Like that's what the media was saying in Finland too. Like it's a very uncommon thing to happen. Like usually in a murder in Finland, it's something to do with a marriage or something like that. That's usually what it has to do. But there's not that many killings and stuff like that. So I don't know. But I presume it had nothing to do with uh you know, yeah, I don't know why. It's hard to know why, but I suppose it's not appropriate to comment really the makeup assumptions and stuff. Um, but we only can hope they catch the people behind it. So, uh, like the next thing at the top, but that's why I'm taking a bit of a breather because the next thing at the top, it's going to take 5 hours. So I hope you're ready for 5 hours of non-stop talking. It's fine. So I get started now, Tom, but it's literally going to be here for next week. So there has been let me see. It's probably better to explain it to you. Just give me a second. So Sam isn't having a good month. She's annoyance, I suppose, from the media. So there's been a book released by this journalist here, a well-known journalist in Finland, not from Sanna Marin, but this is to do. She's read around pretty much what the podcast. You know, the podcast last week. Pretty much this was based on the book too. So long story short, Sanna Marin herself didn't want to be interviewed on the book, but basically the journalist wrote a big long book about Sanna Marin, etc., etc. So basically, it's only out yesterday and it's sold a huge amount of copies. Like it's doing pretty well. It's nearly going to probably top the charts in Finland. It's doing pretty well. Unfortunately, you can't buy it here because it's all in Finnish. But yeah, pretty much the media have gone mad about it. Particularly again, just what to talk about. Like there's a lot of stuff here. But particularly this, I don't know. I presume Sandra would absolutely fucking hate it, like hate people talking about her in her personal way, and I suppose not so much the prime minister being prime minister, etc., etc., but like talking about personal issues that she had, etc., etc. So particularly this. Now, obviously, she absolutely would despise this being said about the talking about this. And to be totally honest, I kind of noticed this myself. I never said anything about it, but I noticed it myself after. To do with the part like breakfast stuff. Wasn't so because she wasn't she didn't. I don't know how to describe it, but she looked like she lost a lot of weight during this time of 21. I noticed it myself. I never pointed it out because I thought it was inappropriate for me to comment on the weight, and particularly because she wouldn't want people commenting on the weight. It wouldn't be right to comment on somebody's weight. But they were worried about had an eating disorder, some of her close civil servants. Again, these are civil servants, high up civil servants that are in the Finnish government. They were concerned about it. But I presume, as it says here, yeah, they were really, really worried about it. But I think it had to do with, I don't know what was it. So basically, I think you remember there was loads of noise made about like things in the Prime Minister's residence. The breakfast buffets that was paid by the taxpayers. Now, obviously, Santa paid all the money back, etc., etc. But I do think everything was just too much for her anyway. I think everything was got on top of her and just annoyed her. And then obviously the partying. And the civil servant does say that because of all the noise that was made about it. Not so much for the Finnish public. The Finnish public didn't really give a shit about it. It was more the media that had a fit over it. And just wanted to do articles, talking about it. So I presume that's what made her do it. It came to the point that it says in the book too that she didn't eat in the Prime Minister's residence at all. She never had anything. She only ate when she was out. As it says here about her coming from Tallinn, if they were supposed to have a big dinner offered by the Estonian Prime Minister at the time. She didn't have anything. So she didn't eat anything at it. And then when the plane landed at the Helsinki International Airport, she went to the Burger King. That just goes to show you that she was more afraid. She was afraid to eat anything at any occasion or anything like that because she was afraid of being criticised. So this is pretty sad, and it really just goes to show you what the media really did. Because this is what caused it. But I don't think she's that bad now. But particularly, again, I remember like looking at Sanna Marin and interviews, etc., etc. I remember like she did lose a lot of weight, and I thought of it to myself too. It was very noticeable, basically. But again, she would absolutely fucking despise this being put out about her personal life. Um, oh yeah, we have to get talking about that too. But you're taking too much, basically. But no, what I say about the breakfast thing, because the people in Finland never really cared. Nobody really passed much remarks on it. Like, she paid back all that money, and that was over 3 years, and to do with her. And this was in the Prime Minister's residence, like for her and her husband and her child. Um, like, it wasn't that, it was only 14,000 euro. Like, imagine how much Leo Varadkar. Do you mean to tell me Simon Harris? Like, just put it this way: is Michael D. Higgins and Simon Harris and Leo Varadkar paying for their breakfast and dinner in the evenings? Do you really think they are? Like, we have to pay for the Dole meals, the TD's meals and stuff, because they will pay for it. And there was a lot of crying over this too, over an interview in the Prime Minister's residence. There was a lot of crying over this. Like, basically, particularly because the media were. So this was just after the party video, basically. Like, this is funny. The phones were taken away from journalists who were staying overnight in the Prime Minister's residence, and Sandra Mowen took the phones off them, took the journalists' phones off them and put them in a box. and wouldn't give it to them. Mainly, I think everybody kind of understands why, because poor Sandra Mowen that time with the video being leaked, she was too afraid of them probably videoing her and putting them up on social media, etc. So I wouldn't. To be totally honest, I don't blame her. To be totally honest, I generally kind of don't blame her for doing that. Like, basically, what I'm trying to say is they basically tried to make her out to be literally worse than Hitler for taking their phones and literally giving them back. They didn't look, like, put them in a box and didn't go near them. Basically, like, it's a bit too much. Basically, what they're saying, like what they're crying about. Yeah, and particularly this, like, they were talking, like, the interview went out and stuff like that. And this is funny too. They claimed the Prime Minister was a lizard man, which, they talked about conspiracy theories and stuff like that, which is interesting stuff. Which it must have been interesting to hear Sandra Mowen talking conspiracy theories. But this is the thing, and I said to you before, and I probably often hold me saying it. Like, Sandra Mowen never wanted to talk with her father. Like, the media are crying about this too. Like, she doesn't have to, really, if she doesn't want. Like, her father's not a politician and stuff like that. But but this is the thing. Like, you mean to tell me, like, answer me this question: do you think Simon Harris is paying for his dinner and breakfast in the mornings and during the day? And also the crying about this. Like, I never seen such crying in a book. Like, the book wasn't that bad. Like, there's a lot worse that could be said. Like, in a way, the journalist too. She wrote a bit about this, and she did praise Sandra Mowen a lot for a lot of stuff she did, and for being, like, it was a lot of, like, nobody can lie to me. Nobody can lie. Like, she was under a lot of pressure during that time. Like, she was generally under a lot of pressure. Nobody can really lie about it and say that she wasn't. Everything was fine and dandy. But the media are kind of having a fit over these things. So they're crying over her not going naked. So in Finland too, people go to the sauna naked and go swimming naked and stuff. That's kind of part of the tradition, etc., etc. The culture in Finland. So they had a party at the Prime Minister's residence for journalists and stuff like that. Where was it here? So yeah, during the stay, some of the journalists went swimming naked because the Prime Minister's house, the Prime Minister's official residence, is on the seafront. So basically, it's right on the sea. But they're crying that she put on the swimsuit. It's like, it would be extremely inappropriate for Sandra Mowen just to literally go into, as the Prime Minister, literally just jump in, butt naked, into the sea with journalists and stuff like that. Like, that would, if somebody took a video or a photo of Sandra Mowen, that would even be worse than the scandal with her dancing. Like, you mean to tell me this wouldn't cause the big, huge scandal if she went in and just took off all her clothes, went swimming naked? You're not mean to tell me that will cause the biggest workshop in history. Like I like to hear they're just kind of criticizing though, saying that she put on a swimsuit. Like obviously she would. It makes sense why she do it because people would literally it would literally be it'd be 10 times bigger than the fucking dancing video. So I don't know why they like this is literally what they can. This is all they can complain about Santa Marin. In the like, she wouldn't put on a swimsuit. She wouldn't go naked into the river. Like it's insane. And literally, your Frank and stuff like that, we could write a book on how bad how much shit they done. But literally, that's the main concern. But yeah, no, that's literally what has been in the book. But a lot of the book too was a lot of praise of it. But the media at the moment are having a fit over it, like these bits particularly. Like imagine that the crying about a prime minister, the only thing they have to cry about is her not going naked in with a load of journalists swimming. Like imagine that. Like over here we have, there's many other problems. But I do feel sorry for her about her. Like it did seem like she had some kind of disorder. More or less, I think that she was more afraid to eat anything at the Prime Minister's residence because in case of criticism and stuff and state dinners and stuff, because she was probably too afraid of people criticizing her for it. Like she was under a lot of scrutiny, and nobody can say nothing about that. She was probably too scrutinized. Like it was all probably a bit too much for her, basically. Like I think everything was just too much for her. And she didn't. And as I said before, I don't think she wanted to be prime minister again because it was too much everything. And it probably was. She was criticised far too much for small wee things that really, at the end of the day, compared to Irish politicians, we could write a book. Where is this thing? Now, there's another thing about crying about. Because there's a lot of it's just crying all the time. Yeah, but she's the prime minister. Like imagine the prime minister just going fucking naked with a pile of journalists and stuff like that. And not to mention, if one of them had a camera or something like that, and took a picture. That's my point. I kind of understand where she was going because that literally would be the front page news all over Finland, all over probably the Western world. You kind of can understand where she was coming from. Why she went and put a swimsuit on because it would become fucking a big huge thing, and she would be under a lot more pressure and a lot more annoyance then. So I kind of don't blame her in that regard, for doing that. I think we all can agree with that. I don't think anybody can blame her. Yeah. But imagine that's the main thing. There's one thing I meant to show you. Yeah, because if somebody had a video photo, yourself. Like you mean the video of her partying would be, it'd be only like it would be 50 times bigger. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's understandable why she kind of maybe thought and said maybe as prime minister too, it's a bit inappropriate for a prime minister to be going butt naked into a river with journalists around, etc., etc. Maybe it's a bit inappropriate. Where in the name of God is this? They're trying to find the other thing, but it's not long. But like I think it's just a deflection by the true Finns. To try and get people away from talking about them. Because at the end of the day, she's not the worst person. There's a lot worse people out there. Like I think she done her best in difficult situations. Like, that's mainly what I think. Uh, yeah, the head box Xbox is on. Who's the false Finns? That's the question. The false Finns, the true Finns, them fucking clowns, whatever you call them, Pecco, whatever you call the woman, the minister for sitters. Well, because it's not going well for them. It isn't going well. They're trying to get this privatising water. You know what they wanted to do here: make you pay for the water. It's not going well for them. You know, they're meeting opposition everywhere. You know, so they're trying to make something up because it's not going good. And it's not going good too because there's MPs claiming huge amount of money in expenses, while literally people being cut to the bone. And then obviously, you know, people being evicted from their homes, the highest in literally in years. And homelessness is starting to become an issue. You know, so basically trying to distract because there's absolutely just rampant uproar over the government at the moment, the current Finnish government. Because it's simply because they're just literally fucking everybody, something fierce. You know, that's the thing. So they're probably just trying to. And as I say too, if you wanted to go out and protest now against them bringing out the water, you know, charging for water, that'd be a €200 fine because they brought in the law that they're going to fine you €200 if you protest an anti-government protest. But what's an anti-government protest? You know, that's what you have to define. Like, it could be anything an anti-government protest. So whatever they say is an anti-government protest, they can fine you for €200. So it's democracy at work. But yeah, long story short, compared to the other government, Santa Marin compared to this government in Finland at the moment is, you know, is night and day. You know, because they're literally making it. They're literally ruining the country. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say to you. So just one more thing. I know that some people probably criticised Thor a bit. One more thing I say. But I kind of the circumstance, or I will defend, of course, in the circumstance. So Santa Marin book, they were, I wouldn't say started shouting. The only thing they say is in the book too. She said to one of her aides, "How the fuck difficult is it to understand in Finnish?" So first of all, this would be terrifying. Imagine having Santa Marin shouting angrily in Finnish. You know, that'd be terrifying. Hearing somebody shouting angry. Finnish noises, you know, that'll be terrifying for anybody. But you know, compared to what other politicians have said, I don't know what it doesn't say what the context was basically in the book. But presumably, and going by what the book said, because I read the bit of it in the book, what they were talking about, it was to do with, and this was only the one time, and like it says, she didn't keep her promise when she started shouting. She only shouted once in the whole book. It was only said words about her shouting. Not what he's shouting, but he was saying how fucking difficult is it to understand. But I think it was to do with what it said in the book. It was to do with the parental leave, in terms of women, and like men and women can have 12 months too. And I presume it was to do with the legislation that they were trying to draft to make that happen. So, you know, I don't blame Santa Marin because, again, she was under a lot of pressure. And I presume, and again, this is the thing, and I have to ask the media in Finland and along with that. And this was only the word, but I have to ask the media on the other hand, like, how is she bringing her staff, like the staff that she used to have as Prime Minister? If you look up her Instagram, there's loads of photos of her bringing them out for meals, etc., etc. There is, so they don't seem, and particularly because again, this journalist, the book, they interviewed over 100 and something of her friends and civil servants, people in the Social Democratic Party. And there's not much bad to have to say about it. That's the worst thing she said to some of them. And I presume she probably apologized afterwards. But she was under pressure, and I'm sure you and I and everybody would agree. Even I would admit too, sometimes when I was at work, etc., etc., I got a bit upset and a bit annoyed, etc., etc. I think that's understandable. I think that's the human side. But it's not the only reason that I say, as long as she apologized to the person she said it to afterwards and said, you know, I was a bit under stress and you're annoyed about this, you know, At least if she said that, it doesn't say if she said, but presume she did, that she apologized and said, "I'm sorry, and I didn't mean to do that." But it's saying that she broke a promise to start shouting, it's a bit undermined because literally in the whole book, there's only one example of her shouting at them and saying this. But first of all, it would be terrifying to hear her just in Finnish, just randomly getting angry Finnish noises. You wouldn't want to hear that now, but I understand that. But compared to, as long as she apologized, that's the main thing. But I don't think, like, imagine the Finnish media wrote a big article about literally this. Meanwhile, the current Deputy Prime Minister of Finland, the Minister for Cities, says empathy doesn't belong in politics. So, I'd rather have this than literally have a woman that says, "I don't give a shit about anybody." Because that's literally what the leader of the True Finns has said. It doesn't belong in politics. Having feeling sorry for people and caring for people doesn't belong in politics. And that's literally what she said, the Minister of Cities. So I would rather have Sana shout that at me than have that lunatic. But again, what I'm trying to say is I don't think all the things they mentioned about there's nothing inherently wrong about it. She didn't do anything wrong with it. And that's the total answer. But I don't think she did anything wrong. Like, compared to other politicians, she hasn't done much wrong. But I presume she just was sick of the whole lot of it. That's pretty much it. Where was these True Finns? I just want to find the True Finns for a second. Because we were talking about them bringing in loads of Indians. I don't think that's going to happen. Because the current Finnish government now at the moment is bringing in legislation. They're going to be more harsher. Yeah, pretty much. And then not going swimming naked. Like, that's pretty much. And the rest of the book was, it kind of did praise her because, again, she did do a lot of good during COVID compared to the full current Finnish government. If they were in government at the moment, Finland would have been fucked. Well, they are being fucked now, something feels. But if they were in government at the moment, if they were in government during COVID and stuff, and during the Ukraine invasion, etc., it's fair to say Finland would have just collapsed into it because at the moment it's just collapsing with this government. Like, no, I don't think any of the Finnish media can even argue that the last government was better than this government. Like, that's just a statement of a fact. Hello, Greenface. But we're talking about you were talking about people coming into Finland, or they were going to bring 300,000 Indians. Well, this is not going to happen because they're going to increase. If you're going to study in Finland from India or from other countries, like they wanted to do from outside the European Union, they're going to double your rate to study because they don't want anybody that's a foreigner from unless you can speak Finnish and Swedish. Because if you speak Indian or whatever, or other countries, they haven't excluded the only reason why they haven't excluded is they have to kind of take in people to do university and education. If I wanted to go over now and study in Finland, I could do it. They can't really stop that because they're part of the European Union. But basically, they're going to double the fee if you can't speak Finnish or Swedish in the European in the university. So Indians and stuff like that. So you mean to tell me that 300,000 Indians are going to go over to Finland now in the morning? Because this is directly, and she pretty much said it's to do with Indians too, because there's a lot of Indians going on tourist visas, etc., and she wants to kind of put a stop to that. And this is the lead of the True Finns. Like, the only thing that's good about them is they're very tough on immigration. Like, they are very tough on immigration, but it's not the fact of the matter is the Finnish people are suffering visas too. So there's two sides of the coin here, because they're literally fucking over every Finnish person too, along with, But yes, that's what I'm saying. So you mean to tell me they're going to bring in 300,000 Indians? And it's the same with any other country outside, like America or anything. If you can't speak Finnish or Swedish, you're going to pay double the rates to get into university in Finland. So that's what they're going to do. So they couldn't do the European Union. Like, they would love to do the European Union too, but they can't do it. So there you go. So they're out to fuck people over. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But they couldn't study now. Say, for example, because there's a few of them in Finland at the moment, they can't speak any Finnish or Swedish. And unless they can speak Finnish or Swedish, or even take, for example, if you're going from, I don't know, take, for example, Turkey, Turkey's not the European Union, Turkey, or you're going from Australia or New Zealand. Oh, no, we're Irish people, obviously European Union citizens. But if you're going from Australia, take, for example, to Finland now in the morning, you have to pay double, like triple or double the rates to go into university in Finland. To get into any university, to get into any education in Finland, unless you can speak Finnish and Swedish, because they don't want you speaking foreign tongue, basically. That's what more or less what I'm trying to say. So you mean the time they're going to let 300,000 Indians in to walk the land or whatever? Because this is just basically to fuck them up, basically. If that makes any sense. So because they want people to use Finnish and Swedish. So European Union citizens to find they would love to do it if they could get away with it, but they couldn't do it. But that's what they're doing. Not to mention, too, there's no asylum seekers going to Finland. I think last month there was only about 100 or so asylum seekers turned up in Finland, because the majority of them were turned away and sent home. So they're very extremely anti-immigrant. They don't want any immigrants at all. But the only reason why they can't do European Union too, because obviously they can't do it because of the European Union. Any plans? No, I don't. It's too hard of a language to learn. Because you often hear Finnish and stuff. People talk like they hear when they're speaking. They keep talking. They keep going 900 miles an hour. And like I know a lot of Finnish curse words and stuff. I don't know about that because they would want to see all your documents, because it's quite difficult to get asylum now in Finland, because they can turn you away at the border. You can turn up at Helsinki airport now in the morning, and it's up to the border guard. There's no such thing as you can. The border guard can look at your documents, ask you questions, and if he doesn't like you or he doesn't think you're going to behave, he can turn you away. That's the law they passed at any of the airports. They can turn you away, tell you to go home. He said, but they're not letting you in. So that's the law they passed. So they don't have to take anybody in, basically. They can only take in who they want to take in, who they think can be trusted and stuff like that. That's the law they passed during the summer. Not so much for European. They can't do anything but European citizens, but they can do stuff but anybody else, say from Ukraine coming in, or take, for example, the Middle East or whatever. Like they can pick and choose basically who to let in. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you turned up to Finland now in the morning, if the border guard's not happy with your explanation of why you're coming to Finland, or you're seeking asylum and asking you won't answer the questions, he could just say, get back on the plane, goodbye, out, get out. It's up to them. At the end of the day, the border guards have the power. Over here, you have to be processed and stuff like that. And that's basically to stop all that bureaucracy in Finland, which I do agree with that they did. I do agree they did that. Like, that's the one good thing the true Finns have done. They've done that. But apart from that, they've literally fucking over every other Finnish person. Because they're literally making it hell for Finnish people to live in Finland. Like, imagine that. For the first time in donkey's years, Finnish people can barely survive in Finland. So it doesn't make any sense, but true. Like they're extremely tough. Like that woman there, particularly the leader of the True Finns, is extremely tough on immigration. Like again, this is the exact woman that said empathy doesn't belong in politics. Like that just goes to show you what she really takes. Like this woman here is the Minister of Sitters. So first of all, you have to go to Finland. And, like no asylum seeker wants to go to Finland anyway, because you have the Minister of Sitters. Like this is literally what she calls herself, the Minister of Sitters. Going around with sitters and cutting everything. So she's a pretty dangerous person. You wouldn't want to fuck around with her, basically, because she's just going to cut everything. Like there's literally people that are literally dying in Finland of cancer, like Finnish citizens, and they've cut there's a special allowance for people that are dying of cancer. They've cut that to the bone, basically. So basically, they get less than €50 a week or something like that. People literally dying of cancer in Finland. Because it's time to cut, because basically no immigrants really want to go to Finland at the moment anyway, because it's time to cut, and that's pretty much the reason why. So they're pretty tough. They are pretty tough. I wouldn't be saying it is time to cut. But yeah, so you mean to tell me, yeah, Rinaldi and Fiona, they're going to let in 300,000 Indians? I don't think so, because they're not that fond of anybody. I don't think they like themselves, let alone anybody else. Like I generally don't think they like themselves. Um, See, it'd be a time cost too if I wanted to go over and move over to Finland now and on. Would they accept? Because again, they've limited the amount of people they're going to let into the country too. Uh, even from the European Union and stuff like that. So just briefly talking about something else. So as I was saying about time to cut, etc., etc. Like up and down the whole country of every part of Finland is this visiting Finland. So this is I was in touch with this crowd too when I was in Finland. They came to me originally with the offer to go to for Helsinki Day. So they approached me. So it was this crowd visit Finland, which is basically the tourism section of Finland. So they've cut. So because again, it's time to cut. So they just basically have dumped 50 people down the memory hole. So they basically cut 20% of the tourism board, basically, that help tourists and stuff like that. Because again, the true Finns you have to remember, one true Finn MP said about tourists, they were giving out about tourists. They were saying we shouldn't let in any tourists to come around the country. And it's ludicrous what the true Finns were suggesting that time. Because Finland this year, only for that, like Finland this year have got 400 something million from tourism. So it's a no-brainer why we would not let tourism in, like tourists in. But yeah, so yeah, this is what's happening. Every part of the Finnish government, this is happening. People being cut, people losing their jobs. Even in only society, people are just losing their jobs every day of the week. Yeah, Sinn Féin, we were talking about literally that about an hour ago. That was one of the first things we discussed. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's very shady. So, long story short, you understand there's two TDs were signed now in the last few days. Long story short, we don't know what, particularly the fellow that's under investigation among all the Shinnecoin, we don't know what he's done. But there was a senator from Sinn Féin last year that was texting underage men in the youth wing of Sinn Féin, and he was a senator in Shannon. So who knows with this? But long story short, I think it's just to do with bullying and stuff like that, and Sinn Féin, and obviously texting underage people too. That's pretty much it. Obviously, there's more sides to it. That's pretty much what I know at the moment. There's probably more to come out, but that's pretty much what we know at the moment. But yeah, we talked about an hour ago anyway. So yeah, so Sinn Féin's a lot of difficulty though, but let's put it that way. Even though they're in difficulty anyway with the immigration problem. Yeah, we mentioned that about an hour ago. We must have been talking about it for 10 minutes or so. Yeah, say so. I think we just chill for the moment because we went through a lot of stuff. It's 2 hours of just non-stop chatting. I'm a bit winded after. Yeah, so pretty much just looking at this. What's happening to Shannon now? I went to check. I presume there was still past. I don't know. It's going to be past regardless if the world was ending. I think they're past. I don't know. So I'm a bit tired after it all. See, after a day when you're at work, etc., etc., then when you come home, you get tired. Shannon Darren, let's see. Shannon. Two. What was it? Dollar when you. There's so many people running in elections and stuff. So many people wanted, like, there's so many YouTubers too, I suppose. Oh, the voting on the Quinlan. It probably won't show much in it. I do actually know. I presume it's Treader or something that I'm in. See, it's hard to keep touch with everybody being live, except it's just that many people being live. I've just lost track.
Government amendments undisposed of are hereby made to the bill in respect of each of the sections undisposed of, other than sections 4, 6 to 16 inclusive and 29, which are hereby deleted. The section or, as appropriate, the section as amended is hereby agreed in committee. The schedule is hereby deleted in committee. The title as amended is hereby agreed to in committee. The bill as amended is accordingly reported to the House. Fourth stage is hereby completed and the bill is hereby received for final consideration. And the bill is hereby passed. And on that question, a division has been challenged. Will the senators who are claiming a division please rise?
Well, you can hear. We're just listening because they're voting now on it.
As I declare the question is carried, as there are fewer than 5 rising, the names of the senators who stood will be recorded in the official report and journal of proceedings. And I now ask the leader, Kamala Askell, when is supposed to sit again?
Tomorrow morning.
At 9:30.
9:30.
Is that agreed?
Agreed.
House stands suspended at 9:30 tomorrow morning. Karmaga, thank you. Adjourns.
It's the adjourning for tomorrow morning. Yeah, so they're adjourning to tomorrow morning. So I don't think they voted on it. I don't think they did. Could be wrong on that, but I don't think they did vote. What's happening in the Dáil is, I think it's the gambling legislation that's going through the Dáil at the moment. just an endless.
Free that and all the rest, competitions that you don't have to pay anything. Why? Because when you get the subscribers, then you can target them.
Get the subscribers, you can target them. Oh no, that's dangerous. So I think Joan, I'm not too sure because I just dropped in. I only remembered it was still voting there. So I don't know. I presume they're voting tomorrow morning on it. Because they want to get home for that, you know. I think it's on about something to do with gambling, online gambling sites. I don't think no, I don't think they voted on it. What would you say was the greatest thing about Cavan? They voted out of it. I'm only joking. I don't know. I think it's just the scenery, its natural beauty, with all its lakes and all its valleys. I think that's the main greatest thing about Cavan. It's all its lakes and it's just natural beauty and its serenity, I suppose. I think that's the most beautiful thing about it. It's nature, I suppose you would phrase it as. Yeah, I think they've not voted on it. With its lakes and all the beauty. Mm-hmm. Yes. No, that's what I would say. There's many other things you could say. There's a great sense of humor, I suppose, in Gavin too. This generally just great. People have good sense of humor, good sense of a good sense of fun, I suppose. It's beside each one. That's a bit of a stretch there now. Hold your horses there now. Leitrim, fucking nothing in Leitrim. There's more in fucking Timbuktu than there's in Leitrim. Leitrim's just a breakaway province of Cavan. Wish that's the NGOs. With its lakes and all the beauties is there to go. This love, she was blessed by God for me. What the fuck? What's coming? What about what's coming? What's in what's coming? There's nothing in what's coming. It's just empty space. Like, to be totally honest, I'm sick of that Joe Finnegan and Northern Sound. Every fucking 10 minutes today, what's coming this, what's coming that. Yeah, we talked about it earlier on at one stage. It's to do with the fact there was a protest yesterday outside Darley. It's to do with the fact. And the fact the minimum wage has gone up and the sick pay for workers, etc., etc. So the fact that basically the tax they pay to the government has gone up. And then obviously they pay the workers more for the minimum wage and then sick pay. So that means the businesses are paying a lot more out, basically. And basically they're not getting any leeway from the government. So that's what's happening. So unfortunately, we've seen it before. I've talked about many times before. So many small pubs have closed. And there's all the small businesses, not so much the big businesses, small businesses. The small cafe, the small local pub. They're the ones feeling the brunt of it. We expand this on, yeah, we have to have, but no, the Finns will help us out. They're giving us a hand. We're going to get loads of skis. Yeah, well, the thing they could do with solving what they want them to do is not so much the minimum wage and it's what to reduce the fat on stuff. So it's 9% currently, the fat on businesses and stuff like that. They want to reduce down to say maybe 5 or 4%. That's what they want, something like that. That's what they really want. They're not really worried about the minimum wage and stuff like that. But the minimum wage is how about it? I don't even know what the minimum wage is. But they probably should, not be taxed. There's only, but you're taxed and everything. That's the thing. No, there's no news on that yet, as far as I can see. Nothing really on it. They probably don't know themselves, to be totally honest. Yeah, there's no other news I can see on it. Which I would see it here in front of me. Ui, Vitu. Well, not so much, no. Like, if you go to any restaurant, it's fucking crammed. In the town, it's like this restaurant's been crammed. It's not so much that. I think people don't have the money. That's the main thing. It's the same with everything. People don't have the money. The cost of living is too much. People can't afford to. Years ago, people could afford to, have an extra €50, extra €30. I'll go out for a meal, Nobody has the money now. It's the same with pubs too. Things have got too expensive for people to go out and buy a meal or get a meal for the family. That's just the problem. It's not so much that people got out of the habit. It's just too expensive. People can't afford it. After the end of the week, after you pay your rent, after you pay, for your car trip, for example, your bills, your electric bill, your broadband bill, you have nothing left at the end of the week. That's the thing. That's the sad thing about this. Well, at least the one thing for sure, at least it's not as bad as what's happening in Finland at the moment. Like, that's all I say. If they think it's bad here, like, they should really look at the Finnish economy. Like, literally, in the last year, of nearly 6,000 businesses have closed in Finland. In 400 and something days, they're able to bankrupt 6,000 businesses. Think about that. If you ever say with the Irish government, at least in fairness, not 6,000 businesses, maybe it will be soon, but the torment in Finland to destroy everything. Young people don't drink as much. Like, and you're mad. Like, literally, the majority of people who are drinking are young people. So that's the people that's drinking. Like, no, it's insane. There's a lot of people drinking. There's a lot of young people drinking. So they nearly spend half their life in the pubs. In this county, anyway, in this part of the world, they do. And the local pubs down here, all of them are about 20, 30 and stuff like that. That was from a dark place. Yeah, well, you want to go to Helsinki? Do you want to go to Helsinki? If you think it's bad here, for an only meal, right? For a few chips and a few sausages and a few nuggets in Helsinki. Think about it. Wait a second. Tell me this: how much? A few nuggets, a few sausages, but four nuggets, right? 4 chicken nuggets, 2 sausages, and a few chips, right? Tell me how much that was in Helsinki in a few places on average. On average, would you like to guess? Because if you think it's bad here, no, go a bit higher. Bit higher. Small bit higher, if you go a bit more. And a milkshake too, just think about that. Have a guess. Everybody have one more guess. For an average meal now. 25, yes, 25, 26. 25 euros and 26 cents. For an average meal, that's just for the food and then the milkshake on top. And the milkshake in Helsinki, over here in Cavan, it's only about 3 something, right, for a milkshake. In Helsinki, it's 11 something for a milkshake. In the majority of places. So you think about it, 25 something, and then the other person's 25, so that's 45 euro. Think about it, for 2 people. And that's not including your drink. Say if you're having wine. And drinking and wine is expensive, over there too. Like a bottle of wine could be 50 euros and stuff like that. And then obviously beer and stuff like that's insane too. Like 1 can of beer could be fucking God only knows how much. But long story short, at the end of the day, you could be paying 70 euro just for a meal. If you were. I paid it. That's what I'm saying. I paid it. Like the milkshake was 10 euro and then the food and stuff like that. Like, at most you would need 60 or 50 euro if you were going in for a meal in Helsinki. That's what I'm saying. So at least it's not that bad here yet. At most you pay maybe 30 euro for the 2. Like imagine that I was in the Westford of Monaghan when I went up to Monaghan recently. And for my father and my mother and me, for the 3 of us, it was only 25 or 28 euro. Something like that, 28. For the drinks and food and everything, for whole breakfast, etc., etc. It's only about 28 euro. For the 3 of us, that's including tea and everything. So think about that. For 3 people, it's only 28 euro, which is not bad for a big breakfast and unlimited tea and bread and stuff like that. Like in Helsinki, you would be paying 60, 70 euro for 3 people. You would be. Like it is deal, like that's up there is deal. Because the reason why in theory, people earn loads of money up there. People have high wages, so they have more money to spend on other stuff. That makes any sense. Up until the True Finns came along and then destroyed everything. In theory, you get what I'm saying. People have more leftover income, so they have more money to spend on food and stuff like that. But it is deal. As I said to you before, and let's see who remembers this. How much was this? How much was this? How much was this? This plastic cow. How much? Does anybody remember? I showed you this before. Yeah, but it's not that bad compared to, as I say, you could be paying 25 something, nearly 26 euro for a few chips, sausages, and a few nuggets. And then milkshake, 10 euros. So if you add it on, it's a lot of money. How much? I said about this before. Let's see who remembers. Sean's betting 10 euro. I have 10 euro here. They're selling this for 10 euro. You can pay 10 euro for this. Cavan people. Have a guess. Everybody have a guess now. Because I said it before. I know Fiona and maybe Aaron only was here. So let's see where you're paying attention. You have to be paying attention in school. Where's the ruler? Hein do tree a cow, kuik a shek a shock. Now you had to listen to that, and you learn your Irish now. That's the teacher be with the ruler fighting that stuff. 15 euro now, right? Right. Have Fiona, where are you? Come on, have a guess. Oh, green face. Have a guess too. Have a guess. Let's see. We want to see who's white. In fucking hell, 3 quid. Do you think I went to Mexico? And I have the proof for this, just to say I have the proof. So, because I genuinely, the majority of people thought I was a lunatic when I said this, but I kept the box and all. Because where I was staying, I did tell you the story behind it. Where I was staying, there was a small kind of toy shop. And I was like, you know what, I'd buy a small little toy for Helsinki. Well, you need enough fight. And it's only a small plastic thing. And I wanted to buy it. There was a Helsinki kind of ambulance there. But listen to this. Guess what? It was the same as this. It was kind of plastic. Like, I was wanting that because it was a Helsinki ambulance, etc., etc. But they were looking for 30 euro for this, but just a small bit bigger. So I said I'd buy this. Like 30 euro basically. 30 euro. Like literally, that's it. And I've bought metal cows. This is only plastic, just it's like light plastic. And I have bought small little cows when I was younger, and like what would you call it? Metal cows, etc., etc. So yeah, because it's Scandinavia. You had to pay for your universal healthcare. You had to pay for your big the big defense spending. You had to pay for social welfare. So it's a welfare state. Not so much now because the True Finns came along and fucked everybody over. But that's what I'm saying. There's a huge expense on public expenditure, etc. And then obviously a huge time off. Big, children have free education, free meals, etc. Like all this has to be paid for somehow, basically. That makes any sense. See, that's and again, you wouldn't believe. I said it before how much I paid to go to Helsinki for 6 days. It's quite extraordinary when you think about it. No, I know I didn't pass much marks, but everybody else, literally, I say to everybody else, they think I'm not well. That I pay that. And then for an ice cream too, it's $5.50 for an only cone, like not a huge cone. I've got big fucking cones in Ireland for less than €3. For €3, you get a big huge cone with loads of ice cream on during the summer. They were looking for $5.50, and the cone was only about this is the bottom of the cone. The cone was only about there. So basically, $5.50 for about 3 slurps of ice cream. And I'm not joking. I'm not joking when I say that. €6 for literally, you only have 2 bites of an ice cream and you're finished. Yeah. Oh, I don't know about Monaco. You'd be cheap in Monaco. I don't. But you have to remember that's Scandinavia. That's why nobody goes near Finland and Sweden and Norway, because you have to pay insane amount of money. That's why people only go for a day to Finland, because it's too expensive. But in theory, all the money goes to good use, but not too much nowadays because the True Finns just fuck everybody over. Like in defense spending alone, Finland spends 16.something billion euro on defense. And just to put in perspective, Ireland's defense spending is only €1 billion. So, 16.something billion a year. And that's only counting defense. So if you add in social protection and stuff like that, it's quite an insane amount of money. But yeah, it's quite small. But I wouldn't mind if it was metal. Like I bought metal cows. I had metal cows here. Like I told you before. Every Christmas in my stocking, there's a tradition I buy. Like my parents get me Lego, like little Lego stuff, like that, small little helicopters, etc., etc. So like this, usually it's only about €10. Like Lego's expensive, but it's only €10. Like it's only for the small stocking. For something small to do in Christmas morning, like a small little plane or a car and stuff like that. It's only about €10 to €15. But comparing that to I think this was only €10, this chopper. Comparing that to this, that's only plastic. At least it's Lego and stuff like that. Not many people are saying, how is this €10 and this is €20? When you really compare it, When you think of it that way, I suppose. If that makes any sense. You want me to go to, like, you're determined to get me to Japan. Like, you want me to go to Japan. Japan, like Japan, literally. It's always so funny, and I was just thinking back on it. It's always so funny when people ask you, "Oh, I was in Spain, I was in Brazil, not Brazil, but I was in Spain, Portugal for the holidays. Oh, I went to England for the holidays, or I went to the United States for the holidays." And I come along saying I was in Finland for the holidays. And everybody's just like, why the fuck did you go to Finland? Out of all the countries in the world, why did you go to Finland? Literally, everybody says it. Why Finland? You going to Finland? And just to say, that was the expression of one of the Celts, you know. I never left. That's the first country I ever went to, Finland. I never went to England or anything like that. I went to Finland. You know, it's how that's the first time I ever left the state in my life, just to say. And the night, just literally a few hours before the election boots open, I was fucking pissed. But yeah, nobody, like literally, nobody in cavan has ever went to Finland, just to say. And nobody really would, because when people hear how much respect, you know, nobody's willing to go up to that area anytime soon. Joe says, no, we have to, you never get it. You never get it. You get Irish citizen credit. Like, you have to be literally, the Finnish government changed it recently. You have to be literally 10 years in Finland to get Finnish citizenship. Actually, no, it's more. So I'm lying to you. It's 15 years. It's 15 years now. So why do you have to be 15 years living in Finland? And this is not it. Listen to this. Listen to this. You have to speak a good bit of Finnish. You have to learn to speak Finnish. You're not going to get citizenship until you speak some Finnish. So basically, you wouldn't get it because I couldn't speak fluent Finnish. Like, you have to be able to speak sentences. So you wouldn't get it. So not like Finnish citizenship is not like candy. Over here, we're handed out like it's fucking, you know, 5 minutes in the country, here's a passport. You know, over there, you have to get on it. You have to walk out and you get it. You know, and that's not saying, even if I did live in Finland for 15 years, take for example, you could get it early enough. You get it in 14 years. You have to be able to speak full Finnish, and if you couldn't do it, then you're fucked anyway. So, you know, if that makes any sense. So it's quite tough, because they've got quite tough with it now recently. Word for love. What do you mean for love? I didn't go on any dates or anything. What do you mean? I wasn't asked by the Tony Blair. I was asked by the Social Democrats, of course, but I wasn't asked by Senator Mountain to come over specifically. Like, she wasn't even in the fucking country when I was there. She was in Germany at the peace summit or whatever it was peace thing. Like, she wasn't even in Germany. Like, it wasn't even in Germany. She wasn't even in Finland. Sorry. You in the US, a few times. Yeah, I never went to any. That's the most country I ever went to. Like, people say, "Oh, I went to," you know, when they ask you, "Oh, what countries did you ever go to when you were younger?" or etc., etc. I went to Finland. You know, I didn't go to England. I didn't go to France. I didn't go to the Netherlands. You know, I didn't go to Portugal and Spain. No, I went to Finland. And literally everybody always says, why did you go there? Like, literally the travel agent I knew, like the fellow I booked the holiday with in the travel agency. I knew the fellow. Now, he didn't know at the time I was invited and stuff. I explained to him after, but he thought it was saying, "Oh, he's going off to England, or he's going to go to this thing or that thing." But I was like, "I'm going to Finland. I want to go to Helsinki." And he literally, him, a travel agent, literally said to me, "Why do you want to go there? Like, why are you going there?" And he's literally a travel agent. And he literally said, "Why do you want to go there? Do you really want to go to Finland?" I presume it was the money and stuff like that. I didn't really care about the money. I just paid it anyway. But yeah, like, nobody ever asked them, I think, ever that question. I want to go to Finland. You know, I don't think anybody ever did. And I think he was shell-shocked a bit that somebody actually said, I want to go to Finland. Especially when they seen the price of it, nobody would pay it. But I paid. That's the funniest thing. Because the majority of tourists and stuff I met over there were only there for a day and then they're gone. They're not going to stick around. It's the truth, isn't it? What's the? But no, I was going to say, yeah, one of the councillors, that's the councillor, I'm not going to mention the name, but I was told this. They were very shocked that I went left, particularly because of the election. They were very shocked. It literally was the night of the election. They thought it was very funny because he didn't say it to me, but I was told what he said, like to other people, because they were trying to figure out where I went to, because they were just trying to figure out what I was going to do or what was this. They thought I was doing some political stunt because it was just before the election and stuff, going into exile, not coming back. That's what they thought. Like one of the councillors generally thought I was going to go over to an exile and cause trouble for them over in Finland. Like generally, that's what they thought because it was particularly the worst time ever to go because it was literally a few hours before the election. The plane left Dublin to go to Helsinki. Like literally the worst time imaginable. And the worst thing about it was I booked it the year in advance, so I didn't know what day the election was going to be on. So that was the worst thing about it. Like I was going to cancel the whole lot of it, but I would have been insane to do it because I wouldn't have got any of the money back at all. So I would have just said, "Oh, it's because of the election. I'm not going on the holiday because I'm not the holiday, but I'm not going because of the election." And I don't think anybody's ever uttered that statement in their life. After paying 10,000, I don't think anybody ever would do that. You probably will. We see what happens. It's kind of 50-50 what will happen, but we see. Oi, Pitu. But it was quite funny. I know, but the funniest thing was too, like everybody had the same reaction. Why the fuck did I go there? Because no, there was a lot of confusion. I will say, and a lot of people probably say the same too. Like YouTube for the first time in a long time, the amount of people that came to my channel during that point was increased five holds. Like the views went up, everything went up, because people thought I generally probably left the country, like some political stunt. Like the most insane thing was I heard. There was one rumor that I was going to go to Russia. Like that was the main thing. That was what was said. That I was going to Finland to go into Russia, which was the most absurd thing I ever heard. And thankfully, there was only one or two people said about it. Like, it was the most absurd thing. Not only that you couldn't get into Russia, even if you tried, that the whole border was locked down and the Finnish military surrounded everywhere. The most absurd thing imaginable. To go to, like, no, but that's what I'm saying. That's what people thought. One or two people actually thought that. I was going over to see Putin. Like that's what they thought. That's what one or two people actually did say because like that's absurd. Like I would be killed in Finland if I said that. Basically, like I would get sniped. Basically, if I said that. And anyway, I wouldn't go to Russia now. So even if I got first class ticket, I wouldn't go. But that's what I would say about 2 or 3 people at the time, and then they figured it out. I went with the Social Democrats, and they were like, "Yeah, okay." But the first time when I did land and stuff, like when it came out, a lot of rumors were going around. That's what I mean. Like nobody kind of understood what was happening because I didn't say anything before. Like I sat here often nights and I said nothing about it, and me knowing all about it. Like, that was the main thing that shocked people that I'd left just in the moment's notice. How long was in for? I was in for 5 weeks, basically 6 days. The accommodation was very expensive. It was just a basic. I didn't go for a big lavish hotel. It was just pretty basic. Again, it was through a travel agency. But a night, it was about €250 for the two of us. So that was $450 a night, basically, for a hotel, for the hotel room. Which is about average, It's a bit more in some places, We were going to go for a bit more lavish hotel, but I wasn't half the time there. That's the thing. I wasn't half the time in the hotel room. Yeah, but it's quite expensive. Yeah, long story short. The same as everything in Finland. But the hotel people were nice and stuff like that. I don't think they've ever seen an Irish person in their life now in the hotel. Well, they knew I was the fucker, the travel agent said I was a YouTuber. Like he said I was a YouTuber, and he said he's very politically connected. Like that's what he said. So they must have knew that because they were treating me very, very nice. They were probably afraid of me putting up something on YouTube about the hotel and stuff like that. But they've done nothing wrong. They were very good to me, and stuff like that. Oh, I would go back to the hotel. Yeah, I wasn't there much, but I was happy enough with the room. It was basic room, but I had a nice view. They put me in a very special room that I could see out into the street. You've probably seen the videos. If you look back in the videos, I could see onto one of the main streets in the city. And like not many people get seen because there's only 3 or 4 rooms at the front of the hotel. The rest of it's facing onto the back. So I got a very luxury room, basically. I think it's because again that fucker, that I know him. But he said about me being a YouTuber because he definitely did. Because I knew by the way they were acting, And then particularly when one of them came in from the Social Democrats with a jumper saying Social Democratic Party, saying it's Mr. Logan here. That must have been like he's here from the government. Like I think they must have probably thought it was sent by the government here to do something. Like I don't know. Like it was all very weird. Thinking about it now, it was all just very, very weird. Because I don't know what they must have thought. There's a YouTuber here, but there's a fellow with the Social Democrats here to get me. Like that morning I arrived and stuff like that, I went to the Social Democrats headquarters and stuff like that. He brought me there, the fellow that they said, to collect me. So they must have been very confused about that. Why is there somebody from the Social Democrats here? It was all very funny to me now, thinking back on it. Like I really, it does bring a smile to the face thinking about it all. It was pretty funny. Yeah, it was crazy stuff. But they definitely, I could tell by the way they were acting, they definitely knew it was a YouTuber and stuff like that. But I didn't make much videos at the hotel, and I didn't really pass much remarks on the hotel. I made a few videos in the room. You probably remember seeing them. But I didn't say anything. No, I don't think they wouldn't have had a clue who Johnny Logan was. They wouldn't have had a clue. None of them would have had a clue. Because they were Finnish. All of them there were Finnish. There was one Filipino woman, like from the Philippines, working in the hotel. But apart from that, they were all Finnish. So none of them would have a clue who Johnny Logan is. If I went to England, they would probably say. But no, he did say to me that he said you were YouTube and stuff like that. Like he did tell me himself that he did. So I was like, you fucker, basically. But I don't think it was Johnny Logan. I don't think they ever would have thought that. But they definitely probably thought something with that fellow from the Social Democrats. He would literally wear a jacket saying the Social Democratic Party, SDP, Social Democratic. Like they definitely thought something when they seen that now. And they said, there's Mr. Logan here. Like they definitely thought something about that now because yeah, I have a good few Finnish videos. Yeah, I think it's something like 100 or something people watch. Like it's more the Finnish videos. Like a lot of Finnish people just go around watching videos about Finland. Like that's what they do. No, I don't think so. I don't think they would know. I never asked, but I don't think so. Because they would have probably maybe asked. But they were very nice though. They were very kind. And they were very fond. They were very fond of me more than other people. See, I talked to a few of them in the reception and stuff like that. Like every time I went in and out of the hotel room, I was like, hello, how are you doing? Like at the reception when I went by them. The rest of the people just walk by and wouldn't say anything. And same in the mornings, I say, "Good morning, how are you doing?" to the staff there that was there. Like people in Finland don't talk much. Basically, they never. People only Finns don't say anything to each other. They just kind of sit in silence. So they were probably more enthusiastic. There was like literally Irish people coming around talking. Because it was said to me 3 or 4 times that Irish people are the happiest people in the world. That's was said to me 3 or 4 times. That this country is not the happiest country. Ireland's the happiest country. Irish people are always very jolly and very talkative and etc. So like people literally said it to me very much. We're all very jolly looking and stuff like that. Over Christmas. Oh, we could. We see. What I say, I think he's probably busy. He'd be busy. He's a man on the mission. He's doing a great work on Twitter. We can see, but I don't know. I forgot where it was. Where was I? Where was it? Joe Biden. But see, I don't really do like I could bring on hundreds of people, to the live stream. I'd rather just chill, I suppose, in the live stream and stuff like that. That makes any sense. Like I could bring on many people if I wanted to, it's just I never was that type of person. Like, what would you call that? What would you call that kind of thing? Like, bring on hundreds of big discussions, stuff like that. Panel or something like that. Wouldn't. Yeah, like everybody said it. Like, we're not chowdy, but more jolly and stuff, good fun and stuff like that. There's a lot of Finnish people. They don't talk. They do like the ferry was solved. The ferry they don't talk much. They're all very quiet. They don't say much, basically. They don't talk unless you talk to them. Yeah, no, I've never been. I don't know how to describe, but it's, you get. I suppose you get what I'm saying. Like I'm just happy just to kind of be chatting with you. I suppose if that makes any sense. Oh, I know, 100%. Yeah, I know. You get what I'm saying? I'd rather just chat like this, I suppose. Different people have different ways of doing it. Like I could bring on hundreds of people. If I'd done that, I probably would get more views and stuff like that. But I'm just kind of happy here, and that's really the thing. But he's a man on the mission. He's doing atrocious work. But the one thing that was often said, like I will say, I can't speak English. I'm trying to see how to phrase this, I suppose. Anyway, the one thing that was said too, and this was said by a few TDs, like it was said by one local TD here in Cavan about it. It was said about it. Because I was asked many times by many TDs to go to Dáil for a tour, to look around the houses of the Oireachtas. Those offers made to me 6 or 7 times by one TD and by other TDs. So all the TDs in Cavan sent offers to me many times to come up to the Dáil. And a lot of them kind of thought it was. I think a lot of them probably, like deep down, probably thought it was a bit of a snub. A bit of stuck up their nose at them, I suppose. That I went to the Finnish Parliament before I went to Dáil. I think that's what they think too. And there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it everywhere. There's a lot more behind the scenes. There's a huge amount of things was said behind the scenes. Like it was a huge chaotic time, basically. Like there was a huge amount of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of city council meetings that was just wild during COVID. The way out of the conflict. Oh, do they? Well, geez, that's interesting. The Spanish city out of all things. What was it? I don't know what I was taking out. Something I was going to say. I can't remember now. See, when you were going to say it, sometimes I'm just stupid. Bum, bum, bum. But anyway, lads and lasses, probably we'll leave it there for tonight. I have one more thing to show you. But long story short, and at the end of the talk with Finlay, because I know we keep talking all over time, but it was good fun anyway. I enjoyed myself. But yeah, we're definitely, as I said to you before, I can say this bit that we are going back. Don't take me back. But yeah, we're all going back. We've been a few different places, and we'll be back in Helsinki anyway. But I don't know. I can't say the other places, unfortunately. But we are going to be in Helsinki for a day or two anyway. But I don't know about the. I can't say the other places now, but we see. You see when the time comes. But it's not any time soon yet. It's 100 and something days. No, is it? Let me show. Fact check. Where's the fact checkers? I just had to actually check, man. It's about 200 days. 200 and so days. Yeah, no bother. Talk to you later, going face. No bother. We'll be ending it here. I know in a few minutes. Anyway. I'd probably maybe pop in at some stage just to have a look and see what's happening. I get something to eat first, and then I'll probably pop in. Madam, thank you for being here. Anyway, we're just about to end it. So thank you. Appreciate it for being here. We'll be ending in 2 minutes. Then. Just the last thing before I go anyway tonight. As this person says, do you remember when we had a real prime minister? And this just really tells you all you need to know how the people seem to agree up in Vios, that everybody seems to be pretty much saying that remember when we actually had someone to actually give the shit. It's all true. But anyway, take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll probably be back next week. We'll probably have a few videos up. So enjoy the rest of the evening and good night.